What's going on, fellow A-plussers? It is I, your host as always, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news. Going live for you guys here today over on our YouTube page. You can also see us streaming live over on our Facebook page, as well as Twitch for you guys out there. So wherever you're certainly viewing us, thank you so much, guys, for certainly coming through today as we have a big episode certainly planned for you guys. I know it's been kind of up and down in regards to, are we getting an episode of Hero Report this weekend? Are we not? What time? But we're back to our regularly scheduled program here this week, as it's not just myself, but good old Stuart Branscombe certainly back in the fold, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you're muted or not. You might want to unmute yourself, Stuart, but it is good to have you back, buddy. We have certainly missed you around here, man. How you been doing?
I've been doing really good. It's really good to be back because it feels like I haven't done one of these in like hella long. Because I know I wasn't able to make it, unfortunately, last weekend, and then
I think we had
remember,
Easter
was I here the weekend before?
I think that was Easter, right? Was that the
Yeah,
Easter
that's right.
before?
I couldn't make it Easter either, so yeah, that was like 2 whole weeks that I had to miss this. But really glad to be back though.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you looking healthy. I'm glad things are working out for you over there, man. It's we definitely miss Indy. Keep Indy certainly in your thoughts. He's got a lot of stuff certainly going on right now, as he's certainly trying to juggle some things. I believe today he had to go ahead and drop his kids back off, so wasn't able to make the show. But Indy, you are here with us in spirit, sir, and we definitely look forward to your flash reviews later on this week, and hopefully he'll be joining us sometime next weekend. But we'll definitely keep you guys posted. Big week this week, Stuart. I feel like we had plenty of great news to certainly talk about. We got 6 topics for you guys, some honorable mentions that'll be kicking off our show. For those of you who are watching us over on, if you like your podcasts, we are currently over on Spotify. Thank you so much, guys, for certainly listening to us on Spotify. Certainly go ahead and give us a follow over there if you'd like. There is a link in the description box below if you like your audio versions of the show. But Spotify also now does do video as well. So usually right after we finish wrapping up this episode of Hero Report, we'll go ahead and post this over on Spotify for you guys if you want to go ahead and revisit it there as well. So wherever you're certainly watching us from, trust me when I say we definitely appreciate the support. We are monetized as well, so if you guys want to go ahead and support the channel in any way, feel free to certainly do so. We got super stickers available for you guys if you want to have some fun in the live chat. We also got ourselves super chats as well if you want to go ahead and support the channel in that particular way. All of that certainly goes to further development for our channel in regards to upgrading some of our technology, bringing up our production value, and hopefully allowing us to go to some conventions to provide coverage for you guys throughout the year as well. So any support will definitely help out as we're trying to actually rebrand right now. I got a logo that's currently in the works, so hopefully within the next couple of weeks we should have ourselves a little bit of a new look around here. So a lot of big changes, and all of that is due to your guys' continued support. So feel free to like these videos, share these videos. The only way we grow is through you guys. So thank you very much, everybody, for all your continued support around here.
That does remind me after the video, because I know for a fact I'm probably going to forget. So just remind me that I have a question in regards to the message that you sent me yesterday about the YouTube message, basically. Just remind me.
Yes.
Yeah, I just have a question about
monetization.
Yeah,
No, we'll go over that for sure. Sure.
Because I know I'll forget.
No problem. Speaking of super chats, looks like we already got one here today. Coming through with the super sticker. I appreciate the super chat there, Blossom. Thank you so much for your continued support. Trust me, it definitely goes a long way. Who else we got in the house? We got AJ certainly joining us here today. Good to see you. We got Enrique Perez in here also. He says, I just saw the MMPR 30th special. I get to see Min morph into the Yellow Ranger, Megazord fight in CGI, and a flashback of Kim's song at the end. Can't wait for more Cosmic Fury news in later months. And we'll definitely talk about that today, as that's going to be one of our main topics, along with some others, to certainly say the least. What's up, Ram Jam? Good to see you in here today. We got Marcelino Vasquez in the house. Good old Jordan certainly coming through. We got Blossom. Also, of course, she hit us up with the super chat for her stickers, having some fun with that for sure. And good old Double C. What's up, Double C? Blossom says the special was wicked coolio to the max. Okay, yeah, I'm glad some of you guys are definitely enjoying that. So thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate it. Stuart, I don't know if you got any honorable mentions today, or if there's any recommendations that you have for us when it comes to movies. But what do you got for us?
Our prophets have returned, Adam. Beavis and Butthead are back for another season on
Our
Paramount
profits.
Plus.
Another season, huh? That's pretty impressive, man.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be end up being like a one-off, but they must have got some pretty good views for the first season, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. A lot of old school fans like me coming back to tune in. I was worried about that too because they did that like a while ago. I remember when they made like a new season for MTV and it lasted like one season and that was it. So it's cool that it seems like it's actually coming back. More long term than the previous like reboot for the show.
That is pretty cool, man. I appreciate the heads up. I didn't even know we were going to get ourselves a second season. So they must be doing something right over there. So
Oh
more
yeah.
Beavis and Butthead on the way. Um, I'm trying to think of what other honorable mentions we have today. We got Superman Legacy in the news.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, James Gunn advised that he turned in his script, so it is ready to go, set to go ahead into pre-production as of right now for the remainder of the year. And I do believe reports are suggesting, and I think James Gunn might have even mentioned it himself, that they'll be getting in front of the cameras this upcoming 2024, early 2024. So I would expect like January or February sometime for them to start rolling. So we're one step closer, Stuart, to this becoming a reality. I mean, we just got a casting announcements for Creature Commandos, the DCU animated series that they're going to be dropping, and now Superman Legacy. So things are slowly coming together. You hyped for this?
Very hyped. I saw so you know how like there's the Twitter page discussing films, which usually has very
Oh yeah.
accurate information, but then there's a parody of that which
Yeah.
uses the same logo. And I can't remember what it's called. I was scrolling through it and they had one, and I thought for a moment it was discussing films and not the parody account where it said Michael Cera has been cast as Superman. And immediately, like just like in the middle of work, I had the Mark Wahlberg reaction from Ted 2. Fuck!
Like, no, James Gunn, you're going the wrong direction. Yeah,
Uh,
man. I saw that same tweet, and to the point to where it even says in the tweet, it says source at James Gunn. And I was like, there's no way. So it literally made me go to James Gunn's profile page. And I'm scrolling. I'm like, please don't let me see this Michael Cera announcement anywhere.
yeah.
I love Michael Cera, but yeah, I don't see him as a Superman, unfortunately.
Definitely not. Maybe a Jimmy Olsen. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe Jimmy Olsen. You might be right. Yeah, give me him as Jimmy Olsen. I can totally see that. Couple other honorable mentions. Martin Lawrence this week came out and talked a little bit about Bad Boys 4. He actually had a Walk of Fame celebration. He wound up getting his name on a star, which is pretty incredible, man, especially if you grew up watching Martin back in the 90s, just to kind of see where his career has taken him. He's 58 years old. He just received his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Huge accomplishment for him, but he did go ahead and talk a little bit about the idea of a Bad Boys 4 happening. He does go on to say, let me see if I can find his quotes. He says, it has a chance to be the best one of them all, and everybody's doing their thing. We got a lot of the team back from the last one. Big Willie's doing his thing as always and so focused. And yeah, it has a chance to be the biggest one. I do wonder if Martin Lawrence truly means that, or if this is just, he's just bloating it up a little bit to go ahead and certainly get us hyped. What did you think about Bad Boys for Life, the last one? And are you excited about his notion about the whole entire team really coming back and maybe delivering a fourth one for us?
I still haven't seen the third one.
I still haven't either, and I've heard good things about it too. I've heard like people that went and saw it definitely enjoyed it, so it doesn't surprise me that we're going to be getting ourselves a fourth one. But I definitely wanted to bring that up for you guys. So yeah, Martin Lawrence pretty happy and hyped about what Bad Boys 4 is certainly going to bring. Let me see here. What else we got? CinemaCon. CinemaCon is back in the news here this week, Stuart, because the convention is literally right around the corner. I forget sometimes how quickly these things kind of just sneak up on me, honestly. But CinemaCon is back in the news here. It's an annual CinemaCon event. It's going to be in Vegas, actually beginning tomorrow. It says CinemaCon is not like other conventions traditionally imagined by movies and pop culture fans. The event is a convention centered around movie theaters, along with their owners, staffers, and more. It really allows people the movie theaters to kind of see like what's coming out next, right? Like how they can kind of promote them at their movie theaters. And so it's unfortunately not open to fans, but they have a big day ahead of them, man. They've got on Monday, Sony Pictures will be revealing um, uh, new movies and new insights. Tuesday, we got Warner Brothers Pictures and the Flash screening is going to be filming for those in attendance on Tuesday. So you could probably expect a lot of Flash news Tuesday night into Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
Wednesday is going to be Disney, 20th Century, Universal, Focus, and Transformers on Wednesday. And then Thursday, you've got Paramount Pictures and Lionsgate. So a lot is going to be happening, guys. So we're probably going to be getting tons of movie news, maybe some brand new trailers, and some descriptions of like new first looks that they're going to be having in store for us. So CinemaCon begins tomorrow. So I'm really pumped about that, Stuart. What about you?
We got a Kevin Smith copycat right here, gonna buy a movie theater just so we can go to CinemaCon.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I literally tried to get us the opportunity to go, but we unfortunately were not accepted as part of press.
Fun fact, when I was like
year.
working at the Cinemark Theater as an assistant manager, one of my inspirations to try to move up to a senior assistant was the thought of actually being able to go to CinemaCon. Never happened because just not the best work environment, but regardless, that would have been quite a flex if I ever was able to do that.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And shout out to Cody also for popping up in here today.
But a rumor that I had heard, actually one of them, or two things I heard going into CinemaCon. One of them is, I think, confirmed, which is that with the premiere of the Flash at CinemaCon, they're going to be releasing the second Flash movie trailer. So that'll be coming out to the public that day.
Okay.
The other thing, this is a rumor though, so this may not be true, but supposedly a lot of the cameos that will have zero effect on the plot and they're just there for fan service, apparently those have all been edited out of the movie in order to avoid the people that get like an early screening of it, basically spoiling all those for everyone.
Interesting. Okay. That's we'll see how that turns out then. That's pretty exciting though. I'm pumped for it, man. I can't wait to see people's reactions out of that. Next honorable mention, because somebody actually brought this up in one of our live chats. I think we had a live viewer question in regards to Alec Baldwin a couple months ago in regards to the idea of him being charged via manslaughter for what happened on the set of Rush. Variety is reporting this week Alec Baldwin manslaughter charge to be dropped in the Rust shooting. It says prosecutors are expected to drop the manslaughter charge against Alec Baldwin in the death of the Rush cinematographer, Helena Hutchins. Is what some of the sources confirmed on Tuesday. The special prosecutors in the case said that new facts had come to light that make it impossible to proceed against Baldwin in the time allotted. That's got to be pretty good, right? Like if new facts have come out and they've decided we're not going to necessarily put this on you, Alec. I got to think maybe they have some information in regards to who that charge should possibly go to. So we'll see.
I can't remember. Have I given my thoughts on the whole thing yet?
I can't remember. I don't know if you were here when we responded to the live viewer question.
Because like the biggest issue I had with how the whole thing went down is that so this YouTuber that I'm sure a lot of people have heard of, Cinemassacre, the angry video game nerd, he was talking about like when he was working on a film, it was a remake of Plan 9 from Outer Space, and this was an extremely low production, low budget movie, right? And he played a sheriff in this. So during one of the break times, he reached into his holster and was about to like grab his fake gun. He couldn't even get the gun out of the holster before like a gun safety person basically told him not to mess with it at all and basically just leave it there and not even touch it. So it's like when you have that kind of safety people like on a set for a low budget film like that, I don't know how you wouldn't have something like that on a big budget. So my biggest issue was that no one, like, not only did you have a gun that like, hey, know how to round in it, but you had no one to like, stop Alec Baldwin from messing with it too. Like that should have been one of the things that they kept an eye out for as well. If they can do it on a low budget film like Plan 9's remake, they can do it on, whatever, I forgot the name of the movie that this happened on, but they can do it on a Hollywood budget movie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree with you there, man. So we'll see what winds up happening. My thing is, look, as long as somebody is held accountable for this, I'm perfectly okay with it.
Mm.
If anything, um, looking at the charge and what the manslaughter charge was, it definitely seemed to maybe fit the recklessness of Alec Baldwin to a certain extent. But I think one of the things that we talked about was it definitely wasn't certainly all on him. And so I think the idea of him just um, being in the position that he's in now that that charge has been dropped, my thing is, as long as there's a accountability level to somebody for the death of this cinematographer, then I'm perfectly okay. So we'll see how that further develops, though. Jin Saku, what's up, Jin? Appreciate you coming through today, man. He says my local AMC gives me all the goods and early screening premieres, so it's definitely worth it to stay in contact with movie theaters and be the best friend. Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. And then last but not least, to round off honorable mentions before we get into our main topics, for those of you who don't know, the Writers Guild Association members have voted overwhelmingly to authorize a strike, Stuart. There is a potential strike headed our way if a deal is not done by May 1st. We had a writer's strike back in, was it 2007 sometime? Maybe I can't remember exactly the exact dates. That really kind of ruined a lot of our television shows, man, and really like delayed a lot of movies from certainly coming out or being as good as they possibly could have been. It says WGA members have voted overwhelmingly to authorize a strike. The vote, which was approved by nearly 98% of the eligible voting members, it authorizes them to call a strike if a fair deal for a new film and TV contract isn't reached by May 1st. And they should be having some levels of negotiations. It says bargaining for a new contract. Let me see. It says our members have spoken. We have expressed your collective strength, solidarity, and demand for meaningful change in overwhelming numbers. Armed with this demonstration of unity and resolve, we will continue to work at the negotiating table to achieve a fair contract for all writers. Yeah, I'm trying to see what they were exactly striking for, though.
I
What they were
think
trying to compensation. It says increase the minimum compensation significantly to address the devaluation of writing in all areas of TV, new media and features, standardize compensation and residual terms for features, whether released theatrically or on streaming, addresses the abuse of mini rooms, ensure appropriate television series, writing compensation throughout the entire process of pre-production, production, and post-production, expand span protectors to cover all television writers, pension plan and health fund, increased contributions to pension plans. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So yeah, they definitely looking for their fair share, to certainly say the least.
Yeah, very understandable. Yeah, I really hope everything goes well for the writer side mostly. But I also hope it's like not as long of a strike as it was back in what was it 2008 during that writer strike.
Yeah, there were definitely there was an article I think we posted on Facebook or someplace that I read that was like all named all a shout out to Small View Entertainment for certainly coming through, that highlighted just how much the writer strike really affected Hollywood and a lot of our shows. Like for me, Lost really suffered from it. Heroes, I think, was like the worst example of how the Writers Guild strike actually happened. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff that took a beating because of it.
My
So yeah, let's keep our fingers
suggestion
crossed.
my suggestion to our viewers, if you want to show that you stand with the writers and you want this writer strike to be over ASAP, do not watch any reality shows that come in during the strike, because that's like
Mm.
one thing that
Is
happened
that how
last
they
time
fill
is
the
they tried to.
void?
Yeah, exactly, they tried filling the
Mm.
void with reality shows, and it worked because they were cheap to produce. They didn't have to hire writers for it, and people love tuning into them. So I'd say just during the writer strike, if you see a reality show you really want to watch, hold off on it just a little bit, just wait a little bit before getting to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some good advice. Shout out to the Geek Ledger also for certainly coming through as well. All right, guys. I think that will wrap up our honorable mentions for you guys today. So Stuart, I think it's time to go ahead and start tackling our main topic. So you ready,
Hell
sir?
yes. I'm
Let's
really
go ahead.
excited to talk about this.
Let's do this. We're gonna go ahead and switch things up here real quick though, because it's got to be fitting for some Power Ranger talk, baby. So I need to bring back my A plus more phenomenal vibes for this one, Stuart, as we get your thoughts. Because guys, this week, April 19th, this past week, we finally got the 30th anniversary special Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always over on Netflix. Wind up releasing, and boy, did this have some impact, Stuart. This thing was trending on Netflix here in the States all day. I think it was like number 3. It's been trending all week, to be honest with you, over on Netflix. As the highest I saw it on the top movies was number 3. When I got the opportunity to watch it twice as of yesterday, I think it was at number 9. So it's still up there on Netflix for people to go ahead and check it out if you certainly have not had the opportunity to do so. So please go ahead and do yourselves a favor and check out Once and Always. Look, it is rare that I have expectations for something and a project just sort of meets every one of them. And this is that project. I have been gushing about MMPR Once and Always for the longest time. What were my expectations? Like how hyped I was for this, really going towards it. And again, somebody that grew up literally watching the very first episode of MMPR, I had a lot of expectations on here, things that I certainly wanted to see, a lot of high hopes. And man, I got to tell you, the entire cast and crew really came through to give us something extremely special. And I had such a blast watching this. The 2 times that I have, I'm sure there's probably plenty of people that watched it 5, 7, 9, 10 times for all I know already. But man, I had such a fantastic time with this, Stuart. I truly did. So if you guys have not had the opportunity to check it out, please go ahead and do yourselves a favor. Everything in here just really worked, if I can give my overall thoughts. First off, just the intro alone, the music, how the music kicks in when you kind of get like the opening, written stuff on the screen and stuff, getting you hyped for the Power Rangers. And then just that opening shot, the slow-mo shot of Billy getting off the ground. I'm like, oh, we're starting off like this, right? Like already in the middle of action. I was gonna say it was the Michael Bay shot, but there is something cool about seeing like the fallen warrior getting up in slow motion and stuff. I'm like, again, attached with the great music already. I thought was just a brilliant move, a great way to immediately set the tone and pace for this particular special. I think Simon Bennett even talked this week about like certain shots that didn't quite make it into the show, like the posing with the explosions compared to the running with the explosions. And he mentioned the idea that they went with the running and the explosions for the intro because it was just that much more dynamic. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it worked tremendously well in regards to getting me hyped, seeing the Rangers come in to support their boy Billy, just charging towards the villains while the theme music winds up hitting. We got some great, incredible action pieces in here also. I love the Billy twirl to the back elbow to Rita. I was like, oh my God, like it literally just truly set the tone for me in here. And it blew me away. Great emotional moments. Honestly, I really enjoyed some of the dialogue in here. It just felt like classic Power Rangers, but mature. Like they elevated their game in a sense. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? Like it had elements of Power Rangers in the sense of like, look, cheesy one-liners, right? The dad jokes. You got to get the dad jokes in there from time to time. Maybe not the best performances all the time. And I mean, like in the signs of like executing some of the dialogue, it can kind of be a little bit cringy from time to time. But that's like classic Power Rangers, I feel like. But aside from that, just the meat of the plot and the script and the story was just so intelligent and well executed, to have some really pivotal sort of emotional moments, whether that be Billy and Min and Zach. For me, it just truly carried this particular series, or this particular special. Again, you put that along with the great original footage that we wind up having in regards to fighting, the great music, even the CGI Megazord stuff really got me hyped, honestly. Like the idea of sitting back and watching them recreate sort of the configuration of the Megazord using, I think they utilized the blueprints that Hasbro had for the Zord Ascension project. And that was one of my things that I think somebody had asked, like, Adam, if there was something that you would like to see in Once and Always, what would it be? And I said, I want to see the Zord come together classic style, but in a more modernized way. And boy, when they started doing it, I got out of my seat. I was so excited to kind of see this Megazord be put together. It looked flawless. Look, the Megazord battle itself in regards to the CGI, look, I can understand some people maybe not necessarily being the most thrilled with it, but considering where we've come with Power Rangers, especially for the budget that they have, I thought it looked pretty good to me. I really had no complaints about it, but I can understand if some people certainly did. But this thing just had a little bit of everything. It still had your great messaging. Getting the opportunity to see Min's journey for this was pretty spectacular. I love the fact that they had really Walter Jones as Zach kind of. I'm glad that they gave him such a meaty role, being sort of like the adopted uncle, if you will, for Min after the tragedy that winds up striking. I just think they just did a great job of giving everybody the respect that they certainly earned after all these years, and really highlighted themselves extremely well. So again, I think you get that nostalgia and cheese factor from Power Rangers in here, but still very much a mature and intellectual storyline. And even like the explanation of how Rita actually comes back was really well thought out, and getting the opportunity to see the flashback and what Billy was what was trying to do, and certainly what happened. So immediately raised the stakes. Barbara Goodson coming back as Rita feels like she just did not fall off at all. She sounded fucking incredible as Rita in here. I was just super pleased, man. I mean, every expectation I had in going into this, they met and certainly exceeded. And look, Stuart, I'm gonna be honest, man. I need more. I need more. And I honestly am hoping that Netflix and Hasbro are certainly paying close attention, because the fact that this is still trending on Netflix, half a week in, I think definitely speaks volumes. You go over to Rotten Tomatoes, the critics gave it 92%. Granted, that's only out of 13 reviews, but critics gave it 92%. Audience score right now is still chilling at 89. So people are still really enjoying this. If I had to grade it, I'm probably right there with them all. Give me an A for this, if not maybe an A minus. Again, just simply because of the fact of maybe just some of the cheesy lines and the underperforming of certain lines and things like that. Because when's the last time we've seen Catherine Sutherland or Steve Cardenas, acting in a movie or a big time television series sort of thing? But I do think David Yost, especially Walter, I think Walter just really hella impressed me in here. He definitely just had that dad vibe about him in regards to giving Min some really great advice and helping her sort of along the way. And Charlie Kirsch was incredible in here, honestly. The sort of attitude that she had, the resentment, the pushback that she certainly gives, the lessons that she certainly learns, and the full circle that she really comes in becoming a Power Ranger. I think they did a great job of casting her, man. So overall, man, give me an A for this project. I was hella impressed, Stuart. But man, I had to gush about this, bro. I had to gush about this. But I want to know your brief overall thoughts. How did you take this particular special?
I think almost everything you said, like, I 100% agree with. So I think this special was perfect. It was everything that it needed to be. It was the perfect balance between like pleasing like hardcore Power Rangers fans that have been keeping up with the show for the 30 years, and just being an overall perfect show for people that maybe never watched anything after Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Things that Easter eggs that essentially are very deep cut. They're basically spoken in a way to where if you didn't watch the original show or you didn't get it, it still just feels like regular kind of dialogue. So it's not going to like take you out of it. But for the fans that really know the show, there's going to be a lot of moments where they're going to be going, oh, that means something like completely different, a lot of cool. I really like that the fan service was there, but it was definitely underplayed, and it never took away from the overall story that they were trying to tell. And then when it comes to the Megazord sequence, so it's kind of funny. I love the actual sequence of the Megazord like forming. I actually do agree with you. Like that was probably one of the biggest highlights when they recreated the
I got
formation
so
of the
hyped. I was like,
Megazord.
yeah. I was
Yeah,
so hyped.
like that was incredible. I was not the biggest fan of the overall battle. Like I didn't
I
think it
get
was
you.
bad, but yeah, I do think
Mhm.
that like that's where the CG definitely showed how kind of cheap it was. Not bad though, but definitely could have used a little tune up. But I will say this though, a million times better than the Megazord from the 1995 Power Rangers movie for sure.
Yeah,
um,
yeah. I was actually trying to debate like which CGI that I think was better, the 95 movie or this, and I did like this one. I definitely did like this one better, but especially like the close-up shots, I think really did it for me because you can really see the details on the Megazord from just some of the battle scars and damage that it's had in the past. But yeah, I would say hit or miss maybe in some of the action pieces, but I was still impressed in regards to the budget that they had and what they were able to create based off of that.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, yeah, when it was like not doing too much movement, that's when I thought it looked like really good. When it was like kind of like when you didn't see it move too much, pretty much. And then the acting, the performances all around, there wasn't a single performance that I didn't like. Like you kind of mentioned, I think Catherine and Steve Cardenas were probably the weaker performances in the
Yeah.
special, but even then,
Outside of that, yeah.
I didn't think they were bad.
Mhm.
And plus, I think they did a good job of not like giving them too much screen time compared to Billy and Zach, who I thought were freaking incredible in this.
Incredible.
I
Mhm.
have my girlfriend was kind of mentioning that she thought like kind of Billy was a little bit flat in the movie with his acting, and I could kind of see that, but I also feel like it kind of helped just keep the continuity with his character because that's basically kind of how he was in the original show. Not because he was a bad actor, but because he was definitely always just the most like the most like kind of out of place out of all of them because he was just the nerd
Kinda
basically.
like
And
introvert. Yeah, that kinda
yeah, the
awkward
introvert.
kid, yeah. Mhm.
Exactly. So it works for his character. And I think to me, like the way we see him growing like as a character in the show and the way we see him now, it definitely feels very in line with that. And man, so I had one coworker who watched this special as well, and he and I both were agreeing on this. Walter Jones looks like he didn't age like maybe more than 2 or 3 years since the 90s. Because like if they had him playing like probably a freshman in college, I think we both would have bought it. But because like yeah, he and his performance I think was the best like in the special. I think like everyone did a great job, but I think the main highlight definitely had to go to Walter Jones. Something I thought this special does a really good job of, which is really really hard to pull off. You see a lot of Hollywood movies can't even pull this off. But the way it goes from drama to the Power Rangers camp
Oh,
that we all know and love, it never feels like tonal whiplash. Somehow the transition from one to another always feels like it's done so incredibly
the pacing
smoothly
was great.
that it never, yeah, the pacing was so perfect. It never takes you out when it goes from we just lost a dear friend, how are we going to tell our daughter, to the next scene you got Rita using a snake monster to turn the Power Rangers into action figures. The tonal whiplash, it's not there. It's so smooth, like the transition from silly to drama back to silly, it's so well done in this. And then
I
of
will
course
say, I will say in regards to that particular scene, I will say the Billy or David Yost being a little bit flat for me was probably in that scene, but I felt like he definitely got better as the special certainly went on. Just that first scene of Billy and Zach in the room, trying to figure out, should we tell Min, should we not tell Min? I love the reveal that she walks in on them in the middle of conversation, and that's how she found out. I was like, oh no, like
mhm.
the worst possible way that you could possibly come across to somebody. So I did really appreciate the reveal in that sense. So yeah, I would totally agree with you there. I was really impressed with that scene overall.
And then finally, because it's Power Rangers, we got to talk about the fights because I thought, while yes, there have been fights in the series that I think like stand out a little bit more, I think that every fight that we got in this was really well done. The choreography was absolutely perfect. And I even really liked that we got a good balance of in suit fights and then out of suit fights. So we got to see, the actors being able to really show off the fact that, they still haven't lost it pretty much over the years. They're still just as badass as when they were teenagers with attitude. So yeah, overall, perfect for what this needed to be, basically. I would definitely give this a solid A if I was rating it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, the choreography for the fight scenes were definitely there. I certainly appreciate it. Really had a fun time seeing Min take on some of the putties in the juice bar. We had already seen the clip, I think, of Rocky and Zach fighting in the juice bar also, but seeing them again in action, I think, was pretty epic in its own sense. Look, I'll be honest, man. I walked away just absolutely really loving this. To the point to where I finished watching it, and I just thought to myself, I gotta watch this again. And I literally watched it like back to back because I just had that much fun with it. Let me go ahead and bring up some photos in here because I do want to give Charlie Kirsch just a lot of praise in what she was able to do here. I love the fact that she wasn't just the type of person that kind of sit back and let things kind of happen and people sort of dictate her future for her. I love the fact that, especially in this moment, she kind of stops Zach like right where she's at. And she's like, look, I've been planning a whole entire year for this stuff, right? Like I've been training for this moment to happen. I'm probably at the same age you guys were when, my mom wind up taking up the mantle. This is something that I can do. And I just love the running sort of a point in this special where she continues to try and use the morpher over and over again, and it just does not work. And it doesn't work until she winds up actually giving a selfless act of her own to go ahead and absorb the shot that we see towards the very end, saving Billy. And the power from that shot, I don't know if it activated the morpher or if it's the morphing grid that certainly happened. Look, the morphing grid works in mysterious ways, but it definitely revived Min, gave her what she needed to go ahead and turn into our new Yellow Ranger in here. And so I just thought this was a really great sequence. I thought Charlie Kirsch just did an amazing job of really showcasing like her reasoning behind wanting to get some revenge. And I think that's what we kind of talked about in regards to when the main plot or synopsis kind of came out. The idea of them talking about revenge and using the word destroy and kill, right? It's very much a personal issue for her, and I love that she really bears a lot of that pain and revenge that she certainly wants to get on Rita. But again, another great performance by Walter Jones in here, and just giving a really great speech about the idea of why you can't become a ranger just because you want to get revenge, that it's selfless, that you got to want to help people and actually achieve justice type of thing. And so the fact that Min learns that firsthand in here, I thought was a really great move for her character arc to getting her where she certainly needed to go. And I thought it was just a really cool morphing sequence. Great special effects also in regards to just the instant morphs, even the brand new morphing sequences that we wind up having. I kind of wish that we had seen kind of like the suits going on type of thing, but I'll certainly give that a pass for the most part. But other than that, man, really, really great stuff. I'm trying to think of some other like little tidbits that really jumped out at me that certainly felt worth talking about. The tribute, Stuart, because look, I'm gonna be honest. I cried at least one time, and it was definitely the tribute and the ending. I definitely teared up on several different occasions. Probably a lot of the Min and Walter Jones sort of interactions and talking a little bit about Trini definitely got me teary eyed. But for me, it was the Kimberly song at the end that really wrapped up a beautiful tribute to both JDF and Tui Trang. Definitely wind up getting just the tears kind of streaming, if you will. And I really love just the brand new sort of intro visual that they wind up having, also like remaking the intro for MMPR, but with the cast as they are today. I thought that was a really nice touch to go ahead and end off this special. So overall, man, give me more, Hasbro. Give me more. I know they got a lot going on with the Jonathan Entwistle stuff, but there's got to be a way for us to get these Mighty Morphin Power Rangers back in some capacity, whether that be a special or a season. But I'm here for it. Would you like to see more, Stuart, or what?
Oh yeah. I wouldn't even mind, like, if they wanted to wait till after Cosmic Fury, see how that does. If they wanted to do like a whole new season, still in the main like Prime Power Rangers universe, but have like Min now leading a new team of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It'd be a good way to like kind of because there's the whole thing within the Power Ranger fan base where they're like they need to move on from MMPR, but the truth is, MMPR when it comes to merchandise, that's what sells really well. So I think like the best way to kind of keep that going where while still being able to like kind of keep that Prime Universe going is probably having Min lead a new team of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, like a new generation. You could even probably bring in JJ because he was name dropped several times in this special, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, I think there's definitely room for more. But here's the thing, though. I'm going to be totally honest. If we don't get more, I'm not going to be mad because at least I know that we had such a solid note to end everything on. So I'm not going to be upset if this is the last of like the Prime Power Rangers universe that we get. And then the reboot, like, is like all we get going forward. Because at least we can know that Power Rangers ended on such a strong high note. Like even if which I don't think it will, but even if Cosmic Fury sucks, at least we had this,
Yeah, no, I totally would agree with you there. If we don't get any further continuations, I think the special did exactly what it was supposed to do. I think it definitely did its job, did its duty. If this is the last sort of iteration of this franchise as we know it, seeing these MMPR Rangers, I think they did a remarkable job in that regard. So I totally agree with you. But it is a part of me that's like, man, I hope they figure out something in regards to how to go ahead and bring some of these characters back once again. Let me see what some of you guys are saying in our comment section, and then if anything, we'll give some further thoughts on this. Cody says, I've seen worse CG, talking about CW. Yeah, totally. Blossom says the Pandora protocol idea was amazing, having all the Rangers from the past 30 years come to help. I thought that was pretty cool. It's like they not necessarily come to help all together, but like coming to help in whatever cities that they were certainly in, right? Because I think everybody was being attacked at that.
Not that it bothered me that they didn't do this. I'm just surprised they didn't, because it would have been easy that we didn't have like kind of just in suit battles with like some of these other Rangers like all throughout the city. Just
bringing the stunt actors.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have to like get any of the actors to come back. You could just show brief footage on like the monitors or something like that. Maybe see a newsreel where it shows Power Rangers from all across the country or working together, and then maybe see like kind of maybe a shot of the Beast Morpher Rangers, show a shot of the Samurai Rangers, maybe kind of go down the line. But again, I'm not mad that they didn't do that. Totally fine with it. I'm totally fine with it being like MMPR, like Mighty Morphin Power Ranger focused. I'm just surprised they didn't, is all.
I just want to get a quick shout out to the director, Charlie Haskell. I thought he did a remarkable job. Again, I even talked about the idea of just the slow motion addition in here. I thought worked really well. Great angles really helped add to just the cinematic feel of it at times. So yeah, Charlie, I think did a remarkable job. And then also shout out to Becca and Alwyn, the writers for this. Also, one of the things that we talked about for the longest time is, originality is key. When they announced a long time ago, or the speculation of Hasbro and Toei potentially splitting and not utilizing Super Sentai footage anymore, one of the things that we were always so emphasized so much is you got to let go of these creative handcuffs, and the idea of moving to something like Netflix definitely allows for that. And the fact that we get to see Becca and Alwyn sort of in this new light, pushing the narrative and pushing Power Rangers, still allowing Power Rangers to be digestible for everybody, but also showcasing us like, hey, we can tell better stories than what you've seen certainly in the past. And a lot of that I do think has come from the creative handcuffs that have certainly been placed on it, because seeing something like that once and always on Netflix just shows me that they can really get into their bag and have intelligent storytelling with some really deep emotional moments for some of these Rangers that really helped a lot of their character growths. And so for me, you balance that out so incredibly well. Again, we talked about how important and great the pacing was. To be able to do that along with some of that Power Ranger cheese, but yet original and epic fight sequences, I think just goes to show you just how good that they truly can be. So I definitely want to put some respect and give some shout out to the writers for this as well. We got Video DVD in here. What's up, man? He says that the special was amazing. Totally agree. Blossom says Barbara still got it after 30 years. I imagined her voice for my counterpart for Wagon in our Tokuger adaptation. Yeah, Barbara Goodson certainly came through for this as well. I was hella impressed, man, with what she did. Who else? Marcelino, he says, I think Min's a cool character. I wouldn't mind seeing more of her, but Charlie's acting needs to improve a bit in regards to the fight scene. Scenes where she's talking in civilian modes are fine. I was pretty good with her. I had no problems with her. With her performance.
I just feel like we didn't get to see her full potential because, like, 90% of the special, she's just angry, and that's kind of like the only emotion we get to really see from her for a lot of it. But I think that, like, if we got like another thing with her in it, if we got to see her do more than just being angry, then we could like really see how good she can be.
Byron, what's up, Byron? Says this right here is how you celebrate a franchise, from the storytelling to the acting and the pacing. Job well done. Totally agree, Byron. Totally agree. Ram Jam says, I like the line from Min to Zach. Are you breakdance fighting? Yeah, that was a good one. There was another great line that I liked in here from Alpha 9 when when he says Zach's like, can we get the room real quick? And he's like, I'm sensing a vibe or some shit like that.
Yeah,
I thought that was a great line.
I absolutely love that we got like the voices back for both Alpha and Rita, like sounding like they have it again, like kind of like with Zach physically looking.
Did Campbell Cooley do the voice for Alpha 9?
No, it was the original voice actor.
It was?
Yeah, okay. From the original show. Yeah, which is really surprising because he's like now a huge voice actor because he does like Invader Zim. He did Billy from Billy and Mandy. But yeah, both of them sounding like almost exactly the same, like as they did in the MMPR days.
Let's see here. We got Matthew in here. Good afternoon. I love this special. I have seen it multiple times. I wouldn't mind a short mini series of MMPR or even specials around Time Force, Lightspeed Rescue, and Lost Galaxy. We'll definitely see. I don't know if we're gonna get those, but I definitely think we'll get maybe we'll get more MMPR at least. JB says, what? He says, it was a good special. Was just confused how Rita got the Galaxy Rangers, and at times I was pissed at Min. Yeah, look, I mean, I can definitely understand the pushback against the Min in regards to, but look, when you're harboring that type of resentment, you say a lot of hurtful shit to people, unfortunately. And Billy just got in the way of that. And at first, I look, and again, this is where it goes to just a great storytelling. The idea of when, Min talks back to Billy in the sense of like, it's your fault that my mom's not here, and she's like, that stung, huh? Like oh my god, like she's really going after this guy. I honestly thought that she meant the idea of, hey, my mom sacrificed herself for you because you couldn't man up and take care of business yourself, right? But that's not what she was talking about. What she was talking about was him releasing Rita, and I thought it went great from that moment right into the flashback to be like, that's what she's talking about. Again, just great storytelling and how you execute and pull these reveals to us as a viewer. I think really went that extra mile, man. So I was hella impressed with what they did there.
Like, yeah, I totally agree. Like, that was the moment where I actually thought I was going to hate her character until we get the flashback. And then you're like, okay, I can see why someone her age would, hold that kind of resentment towards, Billy because of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but it also builds up. But then it also at the same time builds up that emotional arc for Billy in the sense that he too has been carrying around that weight, that it's not just the idea that, hey, she sacrificed herself for me, but I was really the cause of this sort of thing. And I'm just like, man, it gives me chills just like talking about it, because just how impactful it is and how much you can see it really has weighed on both those characters after all that time. So really great emotional stuff in here, man. Yusai says, I honestly wish that they showed other Rangers doing their thing during the worldwide putty attack, even for a few moments. We know the suits are still used because Sentai had used them in Don Bros. Just like what you had mentioned, Stuart, right? That if there was anything that you would have liked to have seen, just definitely that moment.
Yeah.
JB says what says I like Billy saying, "Come get these hands." I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit startling to kind of see him, not only as the leader ish, but like at the head of the Megazord. Like it definitely took some time for me to certainly get accustomed to it, but I thought it was a cool scene for sure.
To me, it kind of made the most sense because, like, looking in Zio before he unfortunately had to leave the show due to the harassment behind the scenes, there was like a portion of the show where even though he wasn't a ranger, he was kind of like the mentor for the rangers during Zio.
Yusai also says, also David killed it, but Walter really hasn't lost a single step. The dude looks amazing and is still killing the game. Also, we heard Billy say, "Catch these hands." What world are we living in? And I got to admit, look, I'm so glad David Yeoh certainly came back. It was so incredibly great to see him. Walter, for me, I think was really the star of this. And again, that's not taking anything away from David Yost because I think he certainly delivered. Both of these gentlemen, those two and Charlie Kirsch for me were definitely the stands out. But there was something just about Walter. He just definitely brought his A game, not just fighting, but just really getting into his performance bag and just made me feel just very believable as an actor. Ram Jam says, I guess Billy in this special is Tony Stark, talking a little about Cranston Tech here. And it was kind of cool. They had the technically, I'm assuming that Cranston Tech is his business, but I would assume underground is where his command center is because he seems like he said like he keeps it secret from other people and even his employees. So it seems like the command center is under his job. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Which I'm trying to think of other. That feels very comic booky. I can't think of any comic book characters off the top of my head that do that, but I feel like that's got to be somewhat of a common thing. I think no. Didn't Arrow do that? Didn't Arrow have like the Arrow base like underneath his mayor's office at one point?
Office, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely did. These are just some great shots, guys. If you haven't had to check out, I think Netflix really released some great promotional banners and posters for this particular series. Over the past couple of days, they've literally have been bombarding us with behind-the-scenes footage and clips over on Twitter if you want to check it out. So while we didn't get a lot of promotion leading into it, they definitely have been spoiling us with, hey, look how this kind of came together all week long, man. And it's been pretty spectacular to certainly go ahead and watch. I think Simon Bennett even mentioned that they utilized the original voices of Amy, Jason, and Austin St. John from the original series for their voiceover works. I don't think it's like brand new ADR work that they managed to get like from JDF or Amy Joe before his passing or anything like that. It seems very much like they utilized what they some of the original content that they had originally. But yeah, man, hella impressive if you ask me, Stuart.
Okay, so if that is the case, if they had all that footage or that audio on like, some sort of like hard drive somewhere and they were able to just use that, my question is then why'd they have to redub the stock footage in the last couple of seasons when they had like the clip shows? Because if it's,
I don't know.
Because like the excuse that I've heard was that the music, they didn't have the licensing for the music anymore, and that's why. But if they are able to like isolate the audio like they were in the special, couldn't they have done the same thing with those previous seasons?
You would think so, but at least that's what I read from Simon Bennett himself. Unless I misread it, but I'm pretty sure they used the original audio from back in the day.
Yeah, it was very well done. Also, that's another thing I got to give this special credit for is I thought not only was the soundtrack really good, bringing back Ron Wasserman, but I also just thought the sound mixing itself was really well done. The way they used the original audio, but they made it so it sounded just so clean. It didn't sound like something from the 90s. Even like during the end credit scene when you have Amy Jo Johnson singing that one song at the end. Sounded incredibly clean.
Yeah, no, I totally would agree with you. Johnny says, hey, Adam, honestly, I think Robo Minotaur and Robo Snizzard are like the Bebop and Rocksteady of this special. What do you think? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, man, guys, overall, lived up to our expectations, and more. Again, for me, if there was any weak moments in this, it probably was maybe just some of the cheesy one-liners that are very Power Ranger traditional, and maybe some of the not so strong performances at times. And I think that's pretty much like what you mentioned. I think if there was anybody that was kind of the weakest link, it felt like Catherine Sutherland and Steve Cardenas, but I appreciate them still at least giving them the content that they were able to go ahead and deliver for us in here. But aside from that, and I think the only other complaint I had was maybe the reaction to Trini's passing, her death, them at the rock cliff. You know, I kind of wanted to have seen maybe a little bit more emotion from them, like the stunt actor in Kimberly's, you know, falling to her knees and stuff. Like she was just really in pain. I thought was really heart wrenching. But like I literally watching fucking Jason in his Red Ranger costume come up behind Billy and pat him on his back. Like, what the fuck? Like, pat him on his back, bro. You should be like wailing right now. You know, like you just lost a team member. So you know, it is funny because I think even David Yost came out and said, you know, they originally wanted to do that scene first of taking off their helmet and stuff, you know. But I think David said he immediately regretted it after watching it because I think, you know, I think that's maybe a moment you kind of want to warm up to, especially if you haven't been in front of the camera or performing in a really long time. You know what I mean? To really hit that emotional oomph. So yeah, I am kind of curious as to how the filming for this special went, if they really did it in order, like scene for scene for scene, because it does feel like maybe rocky performances at the very start, but like after that reveal of Min finding out about her parents and then that 1 year later, I think it really did pick up and we wind up getting some really strong performances from some of the other actors in here as well. So yeah, man, stellar stuff. Give me some more. I absolutely loved it. And I think we both grade this about an A right now. I see some 8.5s. I probably would give it a 9 because I didn't really have too much to complain about besides that. But I just think this was very much Power Rangers, but matured. And I really appreciate Simon Bennett, Charlie Haskell, Becca and Alwyn really delivering something that fans of new generation and old generation can walk away really, really pleased that this is how you guys portrayed our beloved MMPR Rangers. So thank you so much, guys, for that. And yeah, we'll see what the future definitely holds. Well, you got any last words, Stuart?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. Awesome special. And yeah, like you said, we'll wait and see what the future holds.
Speaking of the future, we do have, you know, a quick honorable mention real quick here. Can I just throw this up here real quick? Is this the girl from Buzz Blast?
I think so.
This is the news report that Min was watching on her phone when the putties wind up coming down. And you've got this reporter here giving the breaking news. She looks very much like the one of the Buzz Blast reporters that's dating the I don't want to say the secretary, but homegirl's assistant. But it looks like her. And in my head, I now have a headcanon that this took place. She got attacked at Angel Grove and moved to wherever Dino Fury takes place, and now she wind up getting a brand new job at Buzz Blast. Like that's my headcanon for her as of right now about her journey from this into the Dino Fury special, into the Dino Fury season.
That holds because Simon Bennett did confirm that the special does take place before Dino Fury, timeline wise.
Oh, okay. All right, so yeah, like I look, Simon Bennett, I need to know, is this the same girl from Buzz Blast? Did she just literally move from Angel Grove after being attacked by putties? Like, I can't deal with this, and moved over to Buzz Blast, and now she had to deal with her own issues over there. She can't escape danger, man, at all.
Yep. She's like, okay, cool. No more putties over here. Oh, what are those things? Oh, they're henchmen. No!
Oh, was that Buzz Blast? Because hold on, wait. Was that a Buzz Blast report? Yusai says it even says Buzz Blast on the screen. Does it? I didn't see Buzz Blast. Let me pull it up. Did it say Buzz Blast on there?
Is that the logo from Buzz Blast?
Maybe that is the logo from Buzz Blast. What?
I totally forgot what the logo looked like. Hang on, let me look it up.
Is it the backwards BB? That might be the logo. Yo, that's so crazy. That would be so crazy.
I'm getting oh my gosh, I'm getting like
Yeah,
images of
Cody.
Buzz Lightyear cereal.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Cody even says that. Yeah, that's their logo. Double C says
Oh,
Buzz Blast moved to Angel Grove. Like that's so crazy to me.
maybe it started in Angel Grove but got destroyed by Putty, so then they had to move
So
it.
they move it. Yeah, maybe. And then speaking of the future, Jin Saku came through for us this week, Stuart. We've got some updates for you guys. Now that Once and Always is officially done, let's look to the future a little bit here. He says Whistle's Power Rangers show is going into pre-production in November. He says there's also another show currently in the works, not a special, and maybe a season 31. I don't know yet. So further information still needs to be delivered there. A hiatus is still expected next year. And Jenny Klein is in charge of both shows. Whistle will just be involved with just one of them. And Jenny Klein will, in fact, be in charge of the other one as well. He did send me some other information too. Actually, let me see if I can just bring up. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can just actually share this screen, Stuart. Give me one moment here. And we spent like 40 minutes on Power Rangers already. Here we go. Let me pull this up. This is from Jin Saku.
Hang on one sec, because we got a super chat from Datilla.
Hey, Datilla.
Thank you so much. Wow, $9.99. Awesome. Thank you.
She says, Once and Always was awesome. Can't even imagine what type of 30th anniversary we would have gotten under Saban. Oh, God. Or if we even would have gotten one at all. I think we probably would have gotten one, but I don't even know if it would have lived up to this. This is right there behind Forever Red for me in regards to ranking. I think somebody I saw online had put maybe Once a Ranger ahead of this. It's been a minute since I've checked out that crossover, but I might have to go ahead and revisit that in the meantime. But it's definitely sitting at number 2 for me right now. So he also, Jin also goes on to say, wouldn't be surprised if the second show focused on MMPR if the special does well, but maybe we'll see how it goes, how it does in the next earning call, April 27th. So we have a earnings call later on this week where I would assume that Hasbro would probably maybe talk about the success of this special on Netflix. And Jin also says the script is done for the young adult show and handed in already. So that's the Jonathan Entwistle stuff that's being set, that's already done. So the Jonathan Entwistle script is done, which is why they're going to be going into pre-production this November. When they're going to start filming, though, is certainly anybody's guess. He also says, let's see here. He says, yeah, the second show isn't Sentai, and Simon isn't in charge of it. Both shows are under Jenny Klein. So it isn't Sentai related. So I'm assuming maybe that's not a 31st season.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't know
if it could also just be the first like fully original season.
Right. And there's a part of me that wonders if, we got the Jonathan Entwistle young adult show. The idea of another show in the works. He says it's not a special, maybe a season 31. I don't know yet. This almost kind of smells to that of the kids programming show, maybe that Hasbro said that they were going to release alongside with that reboot. It kind of confuses me because you would think that Jonathan Entwistle would still be a part of that as well. But considering that Jenny Klein has come in and is in charge of both shows, even though Entwistle is still involved in the first one, maybe she's, if anything, maybe that's another show he's referring to. I'm wondering if that's the kids programming show that they're referring to, but we'll see. Mm-hmm. He says also, I don't know if it's related to the Entwistle universe or the main universe. So it's still very much up in the air, but it does seem as though there is a second something being developed. He says the reboot is starting pre-production in late November, picking filming locations, costume designs, etc., and casting might start in January. Also, when the script got turned in, Hasbro said it was really good and one of the best that they've read. So that's good news. They must really love what Jonathan Entwistle's creating. Second show is in early talks, though, so we won't know anything on that for a while. At last thing, he says, Red is definitely a female in the reboot script, and my character descriptions were 100% accurate, but the names could just be placeholders. And I think he mentioned some character descriptions a couple of weeks or months ago. I might have to go back and find that again. But I think we kind of all expected Red to be a female. Jonathan Entwistle seems to do a lot of television series that have are led by female characters, so that honestly wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, there you go. We got some updates for you guys. So yeah, Jonathan Entwistle's Power Rangers show is going into pre-production in November with the script already turned in, and Hasbro really, really enjoying it so far. The second show is currently in the works. May not necessarily be a special. Who knows? Maybe it continues in this universe or the Jonathan Entwistle one. And again, Jenny Klein is in charge of both of those shows. So a lot to sink our teeth into, Stuart. If you had to guess as to what the second show would be, where are you leaning? You think I almost feel like it's a little too soon to suggest that the second show could be a 31st season. So I think that's why I'm leaning towards kid programming for the Jonathan Entwistle stuff. But what are you feeling like when you hear the idea of a second something being in the works?
I think even though it's going to be like technically John Entwistle produce, I do think it is still going to be like basically a 31st season. And I say that only because it seems like it's in the very early production stages, like it's just being like currently pitched and, thought about. So it's like not even a guarantee that it's going to happen, which I think is exactly where the state of, the main Power Rangers universe is. I think right now they're kind of like playing it by season, seeing how well they perform on Netflix before deciding whether or not they want to green light even more after that. So I think my best guess is that it is, the 31st season of the show.
Well, we'll see, man. We'll definitely see. Let's see here. What else we got? I'm gonna stop sharing that for you guys. I just want to get back to some of your guys' comments real quick. Yusai says, out of curiosity, do you guys think Rocky got redeemed at all from this special? And I don't know if this is a question makes sense, but I think you feel me because he still feels like the giant diet Jason to me. Um, you know, I don't know if he got his look. I think the idea that they had him on here for me is redemption. They didn't really give him too much material to certainly work with, but then I think somebody even pointed out like one of the final shots of him rocking like the red shirt and then like the beige button-up shirt over. I think somebody pointed out like he looks just like Zato, and they posted a photo of Steve and Zato side by side, and they're literally wearing the same outfit. So it's still like diet something, they just can't make up their mind and make him just like original. It would have been cool, but for me, just him being in this special was enough for me.
Yeah. And I think given what he does a really good job at, and I love a lot of the stunts we get to see him do, that we get to see him do a lot of out of suit fights. And not to mention, someone pointed this out to me. He at one point during the special does that exact kick that got him his injury in the Turbo movie, which to me was like one of the weakest ways to write off of character. So the fact that he got to perfect that kick in the anniversary special, I think is the perfect redemption for him. I never thought of him as a diet Jason though, because to me he's always been his own character. It's just that he's just one of the very few unfortunate Rangers who had the color red but wasn't necessarily thought of as the leader, because unfortunately he had Jason David Frank outshining him in terms of team leader. But here even though he still has of course the color red, it's not like they're trying to give you the illusion that he's the leader or anything like that, and he does, I think, really good with what he's given.
Yeah, I definitely looked at him as the diet Jason for sure. I mean, when you're literally giving this man the clothing hand downs from Jason, like still rocking the cutless shirts, knowing that you can't fill them like Austin St. John did, it's like, yeah, bro, you're Jason 2.0. But we'll see, man. Who else we got? Johnny, 9.5 out of 10. Glad you loved it, Johnny. Damn, I can't even. We gotta work on your font, man. No, I'm just kidding. I know who that is. It's good to see you, DHR. He says currently sitting at 92%. This is the first. I love it. Yeah, man, I was definitely a big fan. I'm glad you were loving it, DHR. Mikey, what's up, Mikey? He says, hey, Adam, sorry. I love it. Honestly, Cat and Rocky didn't need the MMPR power based on Yeoh and Yeoh being captured. What else we got? Yeah, everybody's saying that's definitely Buzz Blast logo. Let's see here. Mikey says he would love to have a Yeoh or a Megaforce special. Yusai says, give me an SPD special. I'll even take a Time Force special. Byron says, does Simon leave after Cosmic Fury? I don't think Simon's got any work right now. I do think that he has mentioned if it's asked of him, he would definitely take that into consideration. And honestly, I think he should. You know, look, I've gushed about Simon Bennett for the longest time. I think he's done a remarkable job of really turning Power Rangers around and helping inject some enthusiasm and excitement over the product once again, really helping bring fans sort of back into the fold. And just as an executive producer on here for this particular special, he just continues to show just the intelligence that he has in regards to being able to give the fans certainly what they want in great Easter eggs and nods towards the fandom, but also really give us something unique and new and pretty compelling. And so my thing has always been, listen, you know, if you're Hasbro, and while you already have Jenny Klein and you already have Jonathan Entwistle to help create this reboot, if you need a proven commodity, you have one already. His name is Simon Bennett. He can clearly run a show and put something together for you. He can pick great writers and great directors to come on board and put something together very original. And he's definitely more than proven himself. And so there is a part of me that really hopes that Hasbro takes a look at that and is like, hey, you know, while we definitely have an idea of what we want to do for our kids' programming, we need somebody to put that together. Simon Bennett is right there. So I hope that they certainly are paying close attention and they allow him to certainly come back, because Simon seems as though he's more than willing to and will certainly be up for it. So if he's not complaining about trying to leave, I don't think you should let him go. Personally, he's got a great experience under his belt. He's proven that he's somebody that can learn from past mistakes or at least listen to fans when he needs to. And make corrections as he certainly goes along. So I feel like the more Simon Bennett is connected to a Power Ranger project, I feel like each iteration continues to improve and get a little bit better. And I think that's valuable. I think that's truly valuable. Yusai says, just do an animated series that is comic inspired. Definitely a possibility for sure. And they did announce a Hyperforce comic, didn't they?
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah, I think it's currently meant to be a one-off comic book, but I assume based on how it sells, you know, it'll determine whether or not they keep making more going forward.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But guys, that will wrap up our Power Rangers once and always talk. If anything, I think I'm probably gonna edit this portion out also and allow it to be its own video later on this week. So definitely look out for that if you want to go ahead and revisit this portion of our Power Rangers talk. But yeah, guys, if you guys have any other thoughts about Once and Always, go ahead and leave them in the comment section box below after this video airs, and we'll definitely continue our discussion. I'm sure we'll come back to this topic in live viewer questions also. So a lot of great stuff. Yeah, most definitely. So yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. Hey, Stuart, good to see you, man. I think there we go. All right. Oh, you got something?
Oh, just don't be bad, but I gotta go real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go for it. I'm gonna go ahead and move into the next topic.
Sounds good.
All right, awesome, guys. So yeah, great to talk some Power Rangers with you guys. Really, like, thank you again to the cast and the crew for what they were able to go ahead and put together for this. Again, it's rare that I have expectations of something that can truly live up to like the 30 years of my fandom. And I think they did a remarkable job. Emotional, intelligent storytelling, some great sort of surprise moments that definitely had me on the edge of my seat. Incredible music that just really helped carry the emotion for this particular special. Also, just really hit the nail on the head, giving us that Power Ranger feel, that cheesiness, nostalgia, also to a certain extent, but also maturing it and allowing it to be more intelligent for us older fans. And so I'm really thankful for the way, regardless if this is how our franchise ends before a reboot, if we never see these characters again, this is certainly what I wanted in regards to closure for Tui Trang, incredible tributes, and it just makes the future of Power Rangers, whatever that certainly might be, seem relatively bright. So great stuff, man. Great stuff. But let's go ahead and get into our next topic, because we've got like 5 other topics that we're going to talk about here before we get into your guys' live viewer questions. But we'll definitely do our best to get through some of these as quickly as we can. First up in the news is, in fact, let's jump to our MCU bag, shall we? Let's get into our Marvel Cinematic Universe bag a little bit, as there's been a lot of speculation going on. We've been sitting on our hands and knees waiting for any inkling of information about the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. And this week we possibly might have gotten a little bit more details in regards to the casting as we inch closer to this particular Fantastic Four movie. And this week, guys, when it comes to casting announcements, there is a report going out there, a potential rumor, that it seems as though Adam Driver's name has in fact been brought up, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and dive into this. For those of you who don't know Adam Driver, you might have seen him just recently on Star Wars. He was just recently in the recent trilogy as Kylo Ren. He was also just most recently also in a brand new movie, was it 65, if I'm not mistaken, where he's like somebody from space that crash lands on Earth 65 million years ago, and he's got to face off against these dinosaurs and things like that. But Adam Driver is in the news here, as they're saying reports that he's in talks to play Reed Richards. Let's go ahead and dive into this article. I'm gonna be honest, just the idea of Adam Driver, probably not my first call in regards to who I have envisioned for Reed Richards, but that's not anything against his acting. I think Adam Driver is a pretty great actor, honestly. I feel like he really knows how to dive and sink his teeth into any role that he's certainly in. So a fascinating choice if this certainly holds true. So again, not my first choice, but now that Adam Driver is out there, I think for me, when they first announced, or at least there were rumors or his name popped up, I think a lot of us, if not some of us, maybe thought to ourselves, Doctor Doom perhaps might be a really good fit for him. But the idea of Adam Driver under a mask again right after his time as Kylo Ren, who certainly knows? But it seems as though his name continues to float around this particular project, and it's now starting to come out with the name of Reed Richards. So let's go ahead and dive into this article a little bit. This is from the direct.com. It says a new rumor claimed Marvel Studios is talking with Adam Driver about its Fantastic Four film, while fan favorite John Krasinski played Earth 838, Mr. Fantastic in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Casting buzz pointed towards a different name for the role. One name that has been part of this conversation is Disney alum and Oscar-nominated actor Adam Driver. Now, a new rumor provided an update on Marvel Studios' intentions in casting the Star Wars star. This is this. Oh, it looks like this article was actually updated yesterday. This article was updated yesterday on the 22nd. It says insider Jeff Snyder corroborated the report that Adam Driver is in talks with the Fantastic Four movie, stating that the Hot Mic podcast that he's heard that the studio has offered the 39-year-old actor the role. So insider Jeff Snyder is seconding the initial scoop that came out earlier this week. According to scooper Daniel Richman, Adam Driver is in final talks to play Reed Richards for the Fantastic Four. This supports additional rumors claiming that the star was in the running to play Fantastic Four. Mr. Fantastic, the highly intelligent founding member of the comic book team with super stretching abilities, while other actors, including Penn Bagley and Andor's Diego Luna, were also rumored to play the Fantastic Four lead. The fact that Driver is reportedly in final talks points to the fact that he might, in fact, be the front runner for that role as well. Um, so pretty interesting stuff here, man. And we have some fan art also that wind up popping up as of Adam Driver as Mr. Fantastic himself. But again, this story just got that much more interesting because originally I was just going to report to you that, hey, the scooper Daniel Richmond did say that Adam Driver was in final talks, but we now have insider Jeff Snyder corroborating that information, saying that they have in fact offered him the role of Reed Richards. So that feels pretty, I don't want to say final, but because look, anything honestly can happen at the end of the day when it comes to these kind of talks, right? Final talks doesn't necessarily mean a deal is done. It just means that, hey, they're negotiating, they're going through their final contracts. As long as everything looks good, this certainly might become a reality. And so it seems as though that is the stage in which we're at as of right now. So we got two different sources that are in fact corroborating this information. So for me, look, I'm gonna be honest. I do think Adam Driver is more than capable of making this role. It may not be certainly the casting choice that a lot of us certainly expect, but again, we also don't know what type of Reed Richards we're going to get. We don't know what the script itself is asking for. And so while we visually might have somebody else in mind that we think, man, that they would make a really great, they would make themselves a really great Adam Driver, a really great Reed Richards. Again, it's really depending on what the script is asking for in regards to the type of Reed Richards that they're certainly looking for. And Adam Driver, it seems like he's a pretty intelligent dude. I can easily see him as sort of like the scientific nerd of a group here, if you will. And I always found him as a pretty compelling actor, to say the least. So again, not first choice, but now that you bring up Adam Driver's name, I'm definitely paying attention to this, to certainly say the least. So I'm really pumped about this, Stuart. But good to see you back, man. Good to see you back. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to check out the article itself or hear some of the news, but what do you think about this?
I think you said it perfectly. Not my first choice. But hearing it and kind of thinking about it, I do think depending on what the script asks for, I think this is a casting that could actually work pretty well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. Marcelino says, I don't care whether it's Reed Richards or Dr. Doom. I'll take more Adam Driver. Yeah, me too. I think he's a pretty stellar actor. I think initially I was hoping for Dr. Doom, but I'll definitely take Reed Richards. If anything, it does make me beg the question, where's the rest of the cast? Who else do we have in mind? Who's going to be the Sue Storm? Who's going to be the Thing, or even Johnny Storm? I'm still keeping my fingers crossed for Dacre Montgomery as my Johnny Storm to get some Power Rangers love in there also. But we'll see who they certainly decide to go with. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty interesting development now that we have two people corroborating the fact that he is probably in his final talks. This is pretty exciting for Fantastic Four fans.
Yeah, I mentioned the actor that I would have really loved to have had as the Thing, but I know we aren't going to get him because he already played, a character in Black Widow. But I would have loved the guy from Stranger Things, the sheriff.
Oh, David Harbour.
David Harbour, yeah, I think he would have been perfect as the Thing, but yeah, probably won't happen.
Yeah, probably may not happen. So we'll see. I think I had when we did our casting of choices, I think I had David Harbour as my Thing, right? And then I think it was you guys that reminded me, Adam, he played Red Guardian, and I was like, oh shit, that's right,
because he would have been my pick too.
Yeah, so he may not happen, but we'll see. We'll definitely keep you guys posted in regards to that. But great development here. We'll keep you guys posted when it actually is finalized. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in regards to that. How do you feel about Adam Driver potentially being Reed Richards? Do you like the fit? Was he your first choice? Who did you have in mind? Let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below.
So my only issue with him playing Dr. Doom is I'm having a hard time picturing him as a Doctor Doom type character without just thinking of him playing Kylo Ren all over again. And knowing Disney, they always want to try to get something new out of an actor, so I don't think that'd be the performance they would go for.
Yeah, I would agree. And also, he's pretty tall dude. He's pretty tall and lanky dude also. So maybe he kind of already fits that Reed Richards kind of vibe. All right, let's jump into our next topic here. So we go from one Star Wars star in Adam Driver to another in John Boyega. You guys recall, if you have been following our channel here the past week or so, Star Wars Celebration was just around the corner. We did a day 1 and a day 2 recap for you guys. So if you want to get caught up on your Star Wars news, check us out on our YouTube channel. There are 2 videos from a couple weeks ago for you guys to certainly check out, where we highlighted the huge movie announcements that came out of Star Wars Celebration. And one of those movie announcements was a brand new Rey Skywalker film that was going to be set 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker film at the end of the sequel trilogy. And we're getting an opportunity to revisit Daisy Ridley, who will in fact be returning as Rey 15 years later in the process of building her Jedi Order. So a lot of potential here in regards to the upcoming new Star Wars movie. And one of the big questions that we've had is, if Daisy Ridley's coming back, who else could potentially be following her from the sequel trilogy? And we might have at least an answer to one of those, Stuart. So let's go ahead and dive into this article, if you wouldn't mind taking care of the banners for us today. We've got from comingsoon.net reporting that John Boyega reportedly coming back for a new Star Wars movie. I think a lot of us were really impressed with John Boyega as Finn. Maybe not as impressed with the storylines that they had for his character, but I definitely do think John Boyega certainly put his best foot forward. An incredible actor, certainly in his own right. If you haven't seen the movie Detroit with John Boyega in it, please do yourselves a favor. Just very compelling stuff. A little bit hard to watch just based off of like the civil rights movement and that particular time period. But John Boyega just honestly kills it. So the big question comes, is John Boyega returning as Finn for this upcoming movie? So let's go ahead and see exactly what this article is discussing, Stuart. It says a John Boyega Star Wars return could happen in the future, according to a new report that suggests the actor has mended fences with Lucasfilm and will be in the new Star Wars movie with Daisy Ridley. During the most recent episode of the Hot Mic podcast, insider John Roca noted that he had heard from various sources that Boyega will be returning to the world in the movie starring Rey Skywalker. This is what he says. He says, "I will tell you this," said Roca. "I'll break this for myself." He says, "According to some sources I know, different sources have reached out to me because of this show, and they have said to me that according to them and what they're hearing is that John Boyega will be coming back for this movie." He said, Roca went on to note that problems Boyega may have had with the Star Wars franchise have been smoothed over after Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy and Boyega had a conversation recently. The upcoming film is reportedly to see Rey try and honor her commitment to Luke Skywalker by rebuilding the Jedi Order. Boyega's history with the Star Wars franchise is a rocky one, with the actor even saying that was good in terms of ever playing the character Finn again. However, sometimes feelings change, and with Ridley also returning to the role, it's not impossible that Boyega does as well. So seeing this fantastic photo here of Finn wielding a lightsaber, maybe he himself becomes a member of this new Jedi Order, as he did have a secret or something to tell Rey at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, but I don't believe he ever got the opportunity to let her know what that secret was, if I'm not mistaken. But let me send this over to you, Stuart. Let me get your thoughts on this real quick. What do you think about this potential scoop? Several sources are saying there's a potential for him to come back. Do you think that's true? And is that something that you want to see?
I really hope this is true because yeah, like I thought Finn's character was great. I know a lot of people had some issues with the way he was written in The Last Jedi. Me personally, I think what the director was going for was really good. I just didn't think it was executed in the best way that it could have been. But Rise of Skywalker, man, did they let us down with his character. It kind of felt like they just retconned everything that was good about his character in the last couple movies and just made it like, oh, hey, everything you thought you knew about him isn't true. It's just he's the way he is because of the Force. And I still hate it. The more I think about it, like the more it just irritates me just thinking about like how someone wrote that in the script and someone else actually thought that that was a good idea. And, just the fact that that even got filmed is just like just amazing and not in a good way. So if any character needs to come back and needs to be like given like a better treatment, it's definitely Finn. So I would love to see John Boyega come back. And let me also like say this. So yes, I had heard about like him having his talk with Kathleen Kennedy, and it's seemingly ending on good terms, which I hope is absolutely true. But I'll also say this: like, if it turns out that this is just a rumor and that he's not coming back because John Boyega himself, feels too let down with the way that they treated him before, or specifically his character, I will hold nothing against him for that. It will totally be understandable to me why he doesn't want to come back. I hope he does, but totally get it if he doesn't want to.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I do think it's gonna happen. I do feel like he's kind of talked pretty highly. I want to say I do remember some of the conversations that had come out about John Boyega and Kathleen Kennedy having spoken, and I do feel like he has been on much better terms talking about Star Wars, and he certainly was in the past. And so for me, I do feel as though, he definitely had some issues in the way that his character was certainly handled. I think the fact that he was very open and transparent with Kathleen Kennedy about some of the issues that he had with his character probably did nothing but, help his situation out and allow them to kind of come to a much better understanding with each other than what they certainly had before. So if he were to come back, I would definitely expect the script to be significantly better for him in regards to how they treat his character and at least make him a valuable presence and another valuable piece for those particular films. So again, I do think that this is more of a possibility than certainly not. Now, whether or not you're able to get somebody back like Oscar Isaac to play Poe Dameron once again, that I certainly don't know. But it's been a couple years since we've seen these characters sort of at the forefront. And I think I was always a big fan of Daisy Ridley and John Boyega's chemistry on screen. They really won me over in The Force Awakens. And so that's why I was really looking forward to where their arcs were going to take them for something like The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. But yeah, Rise of Skywalker just really fumbled it for me. And The Last Jedi honestly kind of set his character back a little bit for me as well. So not too pleased with it, but I think if John Boyega himself can come to terms with Kathleen Kennedy and understand like the idea of wanting to come back to Star Wars, I do think that there is an appetite for John Boyega to certainly do so. Look, he's been through the ringer once already. If there's anybody that's got tough skin to go ahead and deal with some of the criticisms that he certainly took, the racist remarks and things like that. It was just rampant, unfortunately, in Star Wars. I do think that he definitely knows how to navigate it now. And if anything, I'm hoping Lucasfilm is much better about certainly defending a lot of their co-hosts and really standing up for them, like they have for some of the other actors and things like that also. So I do think that this is certainly a possibility. So bring it on, man. I don't think we'll ever get tired of John Boyega in Star Wars. I think he's just really good for the franchise, honestly.
Yeah, I totally agree. And even though he probably didn't have the best of time working on, the Rise of Skywalker, he still gave it like a really great performance. So I'd love to see how he does when he's back in Star Wars and he's given a lot more focus.
Marcelino says, I want John Boyega to return. I could see him being a source of inspiration as part of his arc, maybe even becoming a Jedi. Also, how do you feel about Boyega playing Steel in James Gunn's DC
Ooh,
universe? I kind of dig that. I kind of dig that.
yeah, that could work.
And you know what? I'll even throw John Boyega's name out there for Martian Manhunter.
Mm.
What else we got? Marcelino says, I would also like to see Kelly Marie Tran to return as Rose. I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm good. I didn't really care for the character.
Yeah, I think like I thought she did a good job like in the role. I just wish they gave her an actual arc in any of the movies that she was in, but it kind of felt like she was just there kind of as a what do you call it? Like kind of as like a character prop. I forgot the term for it, but when you're literally your only purpose as a character is to help someone else's character develop, pretty much. I forgot the term for that, but if she's not used for that purpose, I think she could actually work really well in a Star Wars movie.
If Finn does return, do you go the route of making him a Jedi?
Yeah, I'd say I would, because not only was it hinted at in Rise of Skywalker, but they also kind of doubled down on it in the holiday special, which I know isn't canon. It was just like a Lego movie that they did for fun, but within it, it's treated like a sequel for Rise of Skywalker. We do see Rey training him to be a Jedi, so
okay.
I'd go that route. You know, it seems like that was the route they wanted to take with him.
Okay, I didn't even know they did that for the holiday special. It says Star Wars holiday special, so I didn't even bother to watch. But
Oh yeah,
maybe I should check it out.
It's cute. It's just a fun little Lego like short. It's not even an hour long, so it's like not too long or anything like that.
Okay, definitely worth checking out then for sure. All right, guys, but yeah, let us know your thoughts. John Boyega possibly returning as Finn in the upcoming Star Wars movies. That's something that you're looking forward to. Are you honestly surprised based off of how things went last time, or is this a welcome surprise for you? Definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the comment section box below, and we'll definitely continue to have this discussion throughout the week. All right, Stuart, with that out of the way, we will move on to our next topic. And this one's going to be a little bit tough, man. We go from having some really great conversations about, Star Wars, Marvel, Power Rangers. Now we got to get into our Jonathan Majors bag as we have further developments. Look, Stuart, I'm going to be honest, man. Every time we get a Jonathan Majors update, I think a part of my heart continues to crumble. I think I lose a piece of my soul, if you ask me. I had such high expectations for this guy. I just think he's just did a remarkable job. I was just so impressed with his performance and the way that he just came across as a human being. And I was like, you know what? This guy makes a pretty good role model. But he's in the news again. Just to kind of give people a heads up, he had gotten arrested for allegations and charges for abuse, if I'm not mistaken. After he was charged, I believe his attorney came out and was like, he's innocent. He's innocent. We've got the proof to show you. We got text messages. We got videos to show his innocence. And that was like a month ago. Now, his attorney did go ahead and release text messages from a conversation between Jonathan Majors and his girlfriend, who was the one that allegedly was abused here. And look, some people will look at these text messages in two different lights, right? Some people will say, look, this exonerates Jonathan Majors. She admits to the idea that this is her wrongdoing, sort of thing. Others will look at it as text messages from somebody that is clearly in an abusive relationship and possibly trying to protect herself and this person that maybe she's very much afraid of. I guess it really depends on how you read the text messages. But honestly, if after everything the attorney said, I think a lot of us probably expected, hey, if there's a lot of proof that he didn't do this, what's going to happen? But we haven't seen anything yet. I believe he's got a court date that is coming up here in the beginning of May. If you can maybe look that up for me, Stuart. So maybe more information will certainly come out there. But his situation has not changed. In fact, Jonathan Major's situation has gotten worse, Stuart. So let's go ahead and dive into this first topic here, because there are two big pieces of information that wind up dropping this week. Okay, the first that
May
wind up
8th was the court date.
Okay, so he's got a court date May 8th. So if anything, we'll see what his plea is, guilty, not guilty. Maybe they'll give us some ideas as to kind of what's going on, what certainly transpired, and more details. The fact that this is even going in front of the judge, clearly they have not dismissed this. So who knows how strong this evidence is that his attorney is. But look, it's his attorney, right? He's supposed to come out and protect his man. Innocent until proven guilty. Give Jonathan Majors certainly the benefit of the doubt until we get all the details. But more things are coming out, Stuart. And let's talk about this real quick, because this the first news that dropped that I think might have confused some people is like, what? More things are happening? This was actually kind of telling, if you ask me. Jonathan Majors and Manager Entertainment 360 part ways. Actor facing domestic violence allegations in New York City. So he got dropped not only by his manager, but also his PR team let him go. This is an exclusive. It says talent manager Entertainment 360 has dropped Jonathan Majors. Several sources tell us the recent move by Majors' longtime manager comes 3 weeks after the magazine Dream star was arrested on domestic violence charges in New York City. Currently starring in Creed 3 and Ant-Man and the Wasp, Majors' departure was due to issues surrounding the actor's personal behavior, we are informed. Majors' representation problems don't stop with Entertainment 360. The PR firm, the lead company, also initiated a break with the Avengers actor in the last month. As a more minor element to this, Majors and fashion house Valentino mutually agreed that the actor would not be attending this year's Met Gala as one of its guests. Majors has already shot the second season of Loki season 2, in which he reprises his role of King the Conqueror, and won't go before the cameras in King the Dynasty for quite some time. Deadline here is there's been zero conversations in the Marvel camp to drop Majors from the MCU, but clearly that could probably change here in time. It says the actor was arrested back on March 25th for alleged domestic dispute with a 30-year-old woman. The unnamed victim was taken to the hospital with minor injuries to her head and neck, according to authorities. And he is expected to appear before the judge. Oh, there you go, Stuart, on May 8th, as he faces multiple counts of harassment and assault. So his manager, talent manager, and PR team both dropped him. And that definitely had some people asking, what? Why? Why is this happening? And one of the things that, I said, Stuart, was there could be more information that we just do not know. There could have been something that came up that made them decide, hey, you know what? We need to go ahead and part ways with this guy before it gets a little bit too rocky. Now, Marvel, on the other hand, they're certainly still sticking with their man. I think they definitely want to see how this is all going to turn out first, considering they literally have a whole phase devoted to this man. So there could come a lot of changes. There could not. But I think Marvel, to their benefit, is sticking by Majors as of right now until there is something more concrete. And I think hopefully after his court date here, May 8th, maybe Marvel will have a better understanding as to what's going on, and then might make some changes accordingly. But we will see. They have not decided that as of yet. But yes, Jonathan Majors has officially lost his PR team and his management team. So that came in the beginning of this week, Stuart. And I told people, hey, look, there might be more information out there that we just do not know. And lo and behold, Stuart, more information has dropped. And let's go ahead and bring this one up for those of you who may not have caught this story. Jonathan Majors' issues worsen as more alleged abuse victims cooperate with the DA's office. So when this article first came up, and I'll read the article in depth, but there was a gentleman on Twitter. I cannot remember his name for the life of me. that mentioned that he was surprised that it took Jonathan Majors this long to show his colors, because apparently, according to him, several directors and other actors that have worked in New York, especially on the Broadway scene, um, have heard about several incidents involving Jonathan Majors in regards to um, his actions, how he treats women, and things like that. So apparently, within the New York acting circle, apparently there have been discussions about this man before. One director actually even coming out saying that he's surprised it took him this long. That it made him almost sick to his stomach to kind of see this guy get the praise that he has without anybody truly knowing what this man is capable of. Again, that's coming from two people that I don't know, just relaying what others have told, have said. And the fact that they have said that, Stuart, and now a Variety article is saying, look, there are more allegations, more women are coming out and talking about him. So it's not a good look, Stuart. It says, as Jonathan Majors prepares for his May 8th court appearance on domestic charges, his PR problems are about to get bigger. Sources familiar with the matter tell Variety that multiple alleged abuse victims of Majors have come forward following his March arrest and are cooperating with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. The prospect of more women waiting in the wings would mark a dramatic turn in the case and comes on the heels of Majors' publicist and management firm cutting ties with the embattled actor this week. The DA declined the comment. Jonathan's is innocent and has not abused anyone. We have provided irrefutable evidence to the DA that the charges are false. We are confident that he will be fully exonerated, is what his attorney wound up saying. We'll see, man. We'll see. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. They don't really give any further details about the other allegations that are certainly coming forward, but it seems as though other people are definitely talking. So again, look, man, I don't know what's going on here. I truly don't, but I'm just going to say perception, unfortunately, for a lot of people is everything. And this is just not a good look for Jonathan Majors as of right now. So I guess May 8th will be the date. But how are you feeling about all this, Stuart? What's coming to your mind when you hear all this stuff?
Very, man, it's like hard to say because, you know, really enjoyed him as an actor. So it's really heartbreaking to hear this stuff if it ends up, you know, being true. I think right now what Marvel is doing, the fact that they haven't like made an announcement one way or another, is very smart of them to wait till like the actual court date to find out, you know, what this evidence is like, you know, for both sides. But you know, if this all ends up being true, you know, incredibly heartbreaking to hear because yeah, such a fantastic actor. And it's just too bad that, you know, whenever you hear news about this kind of thing, where it's like, you know, an actor that, you know, you really admire, and then you kind of like learn about their dark side. And it's just, you know, it was like the whole thing with, you know, Ezra Miller after all the stuff that, you know, they, you know, that they were getting charged with over the time. You're like, you know, not that I ever thought Ezra Miller was ever on the same level as Jonathan Majors or anything like that, but kind of the same thing. Like you could see like a bright future ahead of them, and then you hear about like all the shit that they had been doing and how like unlike Jonathan Majors, there was actually like, you know, eyewitnesses like in statements that came out immediately afterwards. Yeah, just all very heartbreaking stuff. So I'll have to. I don't want to like give too much of a solid opinion one way or another, only because we still don't know what this evidence is one way or another. So I want to wait until we know, you know, whether or not he's innocent or guilty. I just, you know, I'm hoping. Yeah, I hope this doesn't sound selfish of me, but I am hoping that he's innocent. Only because, you know, I really hope I hope to see him kind of continue to grow as a actor. But obviously, if these you know, allegations end up being true, I do hope, you know, proper action is taken, you know, against him. But it's definitely a wait and see. Again, heartbreaking stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a wait and see. Tony Robinson says it's sad because even if he is proven innocent, his reputation will have a stain on it and his girlfriend will not be held accountable. Yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough. So we'll see how things turn out. We'll definitely keep you guys posted. I really don't like talking too much about personal stuff like this for actors and their lives, but when it's very impactful on the things that we watch and that we review, it is important to go ahead and bring up. And so that's one of the reasons why we do talk about it here, but we'll definitely keep you guys updated in regards to what happens here. But we wanted to let you know some of the most recent developments of all of this. So yeah, man, just sad stuff, bro. And yeah, I would agree with you. I do think Marvel definitely has a lot weighing on it, but I appreciate them not necessarily getting rid of him as of right now until they have other things. And I'm gonna be honest. Even though Jonathan has been released by some of future projects and his PR and management team, I don't know if he's lost everything yet. I do think that there's still, I feel like people are trying not to jump to conclusions, but I can also understand companies and businesses that just do not want his drama, that are like, hey, we brought you on board and hired you for this particular reason, not your excess baggage that can now fall back on us if this certainly turns out to be true. We just rather wash our hands of it and stay away. I can understand that situation also. So I would not want to be in any of these people's position at all. And like the Ezra Miller stuff, I hear people say all the time, like, oh, Ezra Miller hasn't gotten punished. Why is Jonathan May? Ezra Miller don't got no projects. Like, when's the last time you heard Ezra Miller's been cast for so-and-so? Right? Like, he has a Flash movie coming out, but nobody at DC has mentioned he's still the Flash. There's not like, hey, there's not like other movies on his contract sort of thing. So people probably just been very quietly canceling Ezra Miller also, but no, homeboy literally I don't think has anything on his schedule right now. He's dealing with so many legal things right now. He's very much busy. So yeah, I think Marvel's handling this as best as they can.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that turns out.
Because I think if I was Marvel, definitely I wouldn't want to make a statement, one way or another. But I would also, tell my writers, hey, just prepare in case we need to write him out of the franchise a little earlier than expected.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not coming out and be like, hey, he's not going to be our Kang going forward. Maybe don't make an announcement like that, but precautionary measures. I think you got to take precautionary measures right now. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll definitely continue to keep you guys posted. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. And we'll continue to have that conversation. Next up, Stuart, let's get off of that bandwagon here for a little bit. We're going to go ahead and change course here. Last week, Stuart, we talked about the idea of some of the changes that were coming to HBO Max in regards to the streaming service, now officially going to be called Max at some point in time. And during the announcement for the new Max streaming service, they also revealed to us a bunch of brand new shows and programs that they certainly had in mind. And one of those programs was Harry Potter television series. The idea of like, hey, we want to go ahead and retell the Harry Potter story, but we want to do it in television series format to really sink our teeth into the details of the books, really bringing the books to life and adapting them properly in the form of a television series where you can really utilize 10 episodes, 8 episodes to get into more details that maybe the movie themselves just did not get the opportunity to do. At first glance, for myself, I was just like, for me, I don't really care so much, but I'm sure that there probably are Harry Potter book readers out there that love this announcement. So with that out of the way, let's go to another teen book novel, and that is in fact Twilight. Stuart, Twilight must have seen this announcement by HBO and was like, that's a pretty good idea. Maybe we should do the same thing. And lo and behold, here's your announcement. We got ourselves a Twilight TV series in the works because the movies weren't enough, Stuart. Now we got to get a television series. It says Lionsgate Television is in early development on a series that could bring author Stephenie Meyer's book series back to life after the wildly successful movies. So it looks as though they're getting in their bag. And they probably thought, you know what, retelling these stories, greater detail with the like the novel, would certainly go a long way. And apparently they're jumping on this bandwagon, Stuart. So let's get into these details. Break out the sparkle, is what the Hollywood Reporter says. The Twilight Saga is getting the television treatment, as sources tell the Hollywood Reporter that a series version of the best selling book series is in early development via Lionsgate. Um, Sunny Daly, whose credit includes Tell Me Lies, The Walking Dead, World Beyond, Raised by Wolves, and The Get Down, is attached to write the script for Twilight. Sources say Daly is working with Lionsgate TV to determine what the specific take on Twilight will be, and if it will be a remake of the Myers book or a different offshoot. Okay, so it may not be a direct remake of the book. So that's pretty interesting. The Twilight series is in its infancy and does not have yet the network or platform, as sources say. The studio, which controls the rights to the franchise, plans to lead the development on the project before shopping the rights to the package. There is not yet a timeline for when the Twilight series will be taken out to potential buyers. Sources say Arthur Meyer is expected to be involved in the television adaptation. It also says, what else we got here? I'll probably leave it at that. Honestly, I'll probably leave it at that. So this feels very much an early development. I mean, it almost seems like it's just a concept and an idea, but them really haven't fully pulled the trigger yet in regards to fully making it to happen. So early development is very much a great way to go ahead and express this, as again, they're not even sure what format they want to go ahead and take forward, if it's going to be a complete remake on the Myers book or a different offshoot. Stuart, if you had your choice, though, do you have a preference on which route you would want them to take more?
Oh, this is going to be from a completely biased standpoint, but yeah, I would love to see a show that expands the world rather than just retells the books. But that's also because I'm not the target audience for the books. But I do, I love anything that has like lore when it comes to vampires and werewolves. So it's like if they wanted to kind of explore that world more, but have it go towards a different like target audience, yeah, I'd love to see that. What I think would be the financially more what I think would be financially like smarter for them though would be to just remake the books in the form of television shows, especially because that seems to be the route that a lot of like books are kind of going now, because you already had His Dark Materials, which was a pretty big success on HBO Max, and then we also have coming to Disney Plus, we have the Percy Jackson series, which is again going to be the same thing. Each book is going to be like a season. So I think that's a smart way to do it. But personally, for me, as someone who just loves anything with vampires and werewolves in it, I would like them to go the other route of just exploring the world, but like going for a different type of story.
Yeah, I'm probably on board with you there. I would definitely love an offshoot. I like the idea of staying in that world, but expanding upon it in some level of spin-off, whether it's returning characters we've seen before, lore that's been established, and then just building off of that. That seems much more compelling to me than revisiting the books again. Like at least with like Percy Jackson, what we had like two movies that were kind of unsuccessful, or maybe it was just one movie, I can't remember, but didn't quite capture the audience the way that I think something like a TV series certainly might. So in that regards, I think when you have maybe a failed movie franchise for a book, but you want to still reinvigorate it and give it another shot, a TV series is definitely certainly the way to go. Twilight for me, I just don't, I personally don't care. Well, look, I only really watched the first one. I might have seen like clips and parts of the other ones. It's just not a franchise that I'm that big of a fan of. So maybe my opinion doesn't really matter that much. But for me, I would much rather get into the creative side of things and build on that world that you've already successfully established in the movies. But again, I don't know if there's Twilight book fans out there that feel that they need to go ahead and do this in the television series form to really flesh out the book sort of even more. For Harry Potter, I know that because I've seen plenty of Harry Potter fans over the years talk about the idea of, man, I wish this was in the book. This was a missed opportunity that could have been in the movie, but it wasn't, sort of thing. So I know that there is a hunger, certainly, for more in depth to the novels to be told. So for Harry Potter, it makes sense for me. But again, maybe a Twilight fan can certainly want the same thing. But for me, at least, I say I like the idea of an offshoot and building instead of revisiting. So we'll see what they come up with. Again, this is very much an early development, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a fan base for it based off of the success of the movie itself. So we'll see how it eventually comes together.
Yeah.
All right, guys. And with that out of the way, we will. Oh, you got one more?
Sorry, I just thought of something. What's funny too is that if they really wanted to bring back Batman, I forgot the actor's name, Robert Pattinson. If they wanted to bring Robert Pattinson back, the dude is barely aged since Twilight, so I could totally buy him as a vampire who still hasn't aged at all since the last time we saw him. Just add maybe a little bit of extra makeup, no one would notice.
Yeah. Just a little sparkle, a little extra sparkle. You're good.
Yeah, people are like, hey, why do you look bigger? Just have them say, I worked out.
I'm Batman. All right, guys. From that to our next topic, let's go ahead and wrap that up. I feel like we're in our bag of stars today, Stuart. We go from Star Wars to Star Trek. And I gotta say, man, while I haven't personally kept up with all the Star Trek that's currently on Paramount, I feel like this is like a Star Trek renaissance over the past several years. I mean, this franchise has just come back swinging, not only from just the birth of whatever J.J. Abrams did with that Star Trek franchise, but everybody's been wanting to get on board. I mean, we've gotten so many other television series now on Paramount, from Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Strange New Worlds. You got the Lower Decks animated series. We got Picard that just wrapped up its 3rd season. And there's plenty more stories to tell in this world, to the point to where it's like seeing Star Trek fans and their invigoration for this franchise again, their excitement level makes me want to go back and watch this stuff. I watched all of season 1 of Star Trek Discovery. I watched maybe half of season 2 of Discovery. I unfortunately only seen bits and pieces of Picard. It just became too much Star Trek all of a sudden. I just couldn't keep up with everything that they were trying to do. But they are just creating a lavish world out there, and are really continuing to build on it. And in part of building on it is not only are they now officially doing television series, but they have their eyes set on movies now. That's right, movies. And not maybe necessarily big budget movies for the theaters, but they're even looking at movies for Paramount Plus. And this past week, they actually announced one of their casting for one of their upcoming Star Trek movies titled Section 31. And Stuart, this is an amazing casting choice, and one that makes a lot of sense if you've already seen Star Trek Discovery. But Michelle Yeoh is back. She started out in Star Trek Discovery as Philippa Georgiou, Captain Philippa Georgiou, eventually turning into Emperor, I believe, Philippa Georgiou, and making quite an impact within those first 2 seasons of Star Trek Discovery. But Michelle Yeoh is back, especially after her Oscar win. If anything, over the Oscars, I mean, you want to talk about great timing to pick up Michelle Yeoh and bring her on board and bring her back into the fold. This is it, Stuart. I think this is a great pickup for them, and a lot of momentum on Michelle Yeoh's side after her Oscar win. So let's go ahead and get into these details. As it says, Michelle Yeoh to lead Star Trek Section 31 film at Paramount Plus. So let's go ahead and get into the details of this. Michelle Yeoh is returning to the Star Trek universe, fresh off her history-making Oscar win for Everything everywhere all at once, the beloved screen actor will reprise her Star Trek Discovery role, Emperor Philippa Georgiou, in a new feature film at Paramount Plus, Section 31. I am beyond thrilled to return to my Star Trek family, she says, and to the role I've loved for so long. Section 31 has been near and dear to my heart since I began the journey of playing Philippa all the way back when this new golden age of Star Trek launched. To see her finally get her moment is a dream come true in a year that's shown me the incredible power of never giving up on your dreams. We can't wait to share what's in store for you. And until then, live long and prosper. Unless Emperor Giorgio decrees otherwise. I fucking love Michelle Yeoh, man. I truly do love Michelle Yeoh. But she's right, man. Never give up on your dreams. The idea of her being an older actress that's been in Hollywood for such a long time and now finally getting her due results and just rewards, if you will, is absolutely amazing. And so for her to already have a pivotal role in Star Trek Discovery for the first season and even the second season, to come back and reprise this and be the lead, I think speaks volumes, not only of her past work on Star Trek, but just her career work in general and that big Oscar win that she wind up bringing in. Executive producer Alex Kurtzman said the idea of a spinoff with Yeoh's beloved Discovery character first came up back in 2017 before season 1 even aired on the CBS All Access. He credited her with planting the seed, and after that incredible performance of hers as Philippa Georgiou, you definitely wanted her back. He goes on to say she broke new ground as one of the first 2 women on screen in the pilot to usher in the new age of Star Trek. And now, 6 years later, Section 31 finally arrives on the heels of her latest groundbreaking win. Everyone on Team Trek couldn't be more thrilled to have our legendary friend return home to us as we expand our storytelling into a new and uncharted corners of the Trekverse. Long live Emperor Giorgio. Long live Michelle Yeoh. So yeah, great stuff here, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing what she's going to be more than capable of doing for this movie. And the fact that they continue to show that it's going to be Emperor Philippa Georgiou definitely already emphasizes the type of attitude and personality that we're going to get from this particular character. And it's not going to be the laid back captain, to certainly say the least. So she's definitely bringing her A game here as Emperor. And that just adds a whole different wrinkle and level of excitement for me. Look, I will just say this. I do believe Star Trek belongs on the big screen still. I definitely want to see more Star Trek movies developed for the theaters. We haven't really had an update for like Star Trek 5 or that, the Chris Pine, or Star Trek 3, the Chris Pine sort of iteration of that. I think it's kind of been pretty slow moving. And I think that's been okay for them because of the fact that they've had such a huge invigoration back on Paramount Plus, like they mentioned it, referring to it as the golden age. I think that's really holding a lot of Star Trek fans over. But for me, I really want to see it back on the big screen. But regardless of that, the idea of them creating more spin-offs, other movies that are going to be airing on Paramount Plus, if you're a Star Trek fan, you almost got to own Paramount Plus at this particular point in time. But it almost kind of feels also, Stuart, very Star Warsy in the sense of like, you're building up all these television shows and these different, all within maybe some same time periods, maybe different time periods, but then also creating these characters that are so beloved that you're even creating movies for them, or big interconnected movies. I'm a big fan of that concept, and anything to help bolster Paramount Plus and certainly get some eyes on it are definitely beneficial. So Star Trek Section 31 definitely has my attention. I was already a big fan of Michelle Yeoh's from her past work, but the fact that they're bringing her back as a character that I really loved her in the first 2 seasons of Discovery, I cannot wait for this. And I think this was a very smart idea on their part. Even though the fact that they mentioned, like, hey, we've had these talks since 2017 about wanting to do a movie with your character. This was just as perfect timing as you could possibly ask for, as Michelle Yeoh has really re-energized herself as an actress and is doing some amazing things at this particular part and time in her career. So I think this is a massive win for them, and I'm really excited for this. But what about you, Stuart? What's your levels of excitement for this upcoming project?
So definitely looking forward to it, and it gives me an excuse to finally go and watch Star Trek Discovery, which I have not yet done. I even straight up started Strange New Worlds before I started Star Trek Discovery, which
Yeah,
because by the way, Strange New Worlds, for
I'm
those of
hearing
you
great
who are
things.
like, yeah, if you're interested in like kind of the old school episodic storytelling of the original like Star Trek series, and same with Next Gen, Strange New Worlds is definitely the show for you. But yeah, I've really loved a lot of what Paramount Plus has been doing with Star Trek, because I really enjoyed Strange New Worlds, and then I think like a lot of Picard, while it definitely has its ups and downs, I do think it is a very, very solid show overall, and I really did enjoy the final season that we had with the Next Generation reunion. Um, and yeah, so seeing Michelle Yeoh getting to lead her own Star Trek movie. Definitely looking forward to that. One thing I also kind of hope that they do going into this, because I know that this is going to be straight to Paramount Plus, and I think the reason they're doing that is I think they want to make sure that the two timelines when it comes to Star Trek are very clearly separated, and that
Mm,
people kind of can know which is taking place in which. And I think the easiest way for them to do that is to have like the theatrical movies be the ones that take place in the J.J. Abrams timeline, whereas like anything on Paramount Plus is
gotcha.
going to be the one that takes place in the main timeline. So I think that's why they're doing this as a Paramount Plus exclusive. So I get that. But at the same time, we could still do Fandango events. We can do like other events to like at least like have this in select theaters for a limited time. So I would really
Mm,
like it if Paramount did that, playing it in some theaters, for a limited time. And then, if it does really well, maybe even move future Star Trek projects that were meant to be in Paramount Plus exclusives to like actually go into the theaters in the future. I think I think would be really cool. And yeah, overall excited.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good idea if they were to try and do something like that. I feel like maybe Netflix has done that before, in the sense of like, hey, let's release this movie theatrically for a couple weeks, and then at the same time that it's on Netflix, just to maybe make some additional income for
Mhm.
what they've put together, but still keep it kind of on their streaming network. But this next article here might actually give us some further insight in regards to like the idea of like why they're trying to pull the trigger on this movie, or at least the idea of like where they envision Star Trek to be within the next couple of years. This is from a Hollywood Reporter saying Michelle Yeoh's Section 31 is the start of Star Trek Phase 2 at Paramount Plus. So they clearly have big plans. Captained by Alex Kurtzman, he got some really big plans here. It says set course for
Before you
phase
start
two.
reading, something kind
What
of
you got?
funny about that name, calling it Phase Two. Before Next Generation, that was actually what Gene Roddenberry wanted for a sequel for Star Trek. He wanted like a series that would have been called Star Trek Phase Two.
Hey, I look. It would not surprise me if even Alex knew that. Like, so I wonder if that's why he's executing it that way. Um,
Probably.
It says the next chapter of Alex Kurtzman's Star Trek franchise at Paramount is beginning to come into focus. On Tuesday, the Paramount back streamer announced its long gestating Section 31 series will indeed be a movie that brings a newly minted Oscar winner Michelle Yeoh back. It says sources say Kurtzman, whose secret hideout captains the Trek franchise under a 9-figure deal with producers CBS Studios, began making plans to convert Section 31 into a tentpole feature film for the platform last summer, as insiders were nervous about oversaturating the iconic property. The idea to shift to tent poles kicked in after Kurtzman, sources say, saw Everything Everywhere All at Once and realized the role would likely earn Yeoh an Oscar. Um, so it looks like they had an idea for it to be a series. They saw Michelle Yeoh's performance and was like, No, this needs to be a movie. Also based off of the idea of not wanting to oversaturate the franchise. It says between Yeoh's schedule, fears of having too many shows going on at the same time in the franchise, and the desire to enter the feature film event space, a decision was made to shift Section 31 into a movie. Amid her award season sweep, sources say Yeoh remained committed to returning the Kurtzman Star Trek fold and was on board to reprise her role in any capacity. The actress was the first person cast for Discovery, which I think we kind of talked about also. Sources say Section 31 is being envisioned as Mission Impossible meets Guardians of the Galaxy, which, with the big scope of both films, would make doing a weekly series a large challenge. The plan, sources note, is for Kurtzman and company to do a Star Trek made-for-streaming movie every 2 years for Paramount Plus. It's worth noting that Kurtzman, who co-wrote Star Trek's feature film in 2009 and the 2013 Star Trek Into Darkness, previously expressed interest in returning to a movie world with his franchise at some point in time. So yeah, it says production on Section 31 will begin later this year. Man, they also have a Star Trek Starfleet Academy show that's a teen focus that's going to be out. God, you got a ton of stuff. They also have that that other show, Star Trek Prodigy, the kid-focused animated series, which I've heard actually pretty good things about also. So yeah, man, this is definitely a Star Trek renaissance.
You even have like kind of the raunchy adult animated Star Trek Lower Deck series. So it's like you got a Star Trek show for like every audience. You got Discovery, you got Discovery for the modern audience. You got Picard and Strange New Worlds for like the old school audience, and then now you got the movies, and then you have an animated show for kids and an animated show for adults. Like, you know, I feel like, the way that they're doing the Star Trek shows, very similar to how like Disney is trying to like kind of move Star Wars, I think, except for I think Star Trek got a little bit of a head start on that. So I think they're already on top of like, hitting every target audience you could possibly want.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Their range and scope of all the different parameters they're certainly hitting is definitely there. So yeah, we're looking at possibly 2 Star Trek movies, a Star Trek movie every 2 years for Paramount Plus, and they're doing some big things right now. So very good reason to be excited as a Star Trek fan, honestly.
Very much so.
But yeah, guys, let us know your levels of thoughts and enthusiasm in regards to Michelle Yeoh being cast in Section 31. Mission Impossible mixed in with Guardians of the Galaxy, that definitely feels like a heavy lifting, Stuart, to match.
Yeah, I was going to say that would make this like one of the most expensive movies to go straight to streaming.
For real. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. And with that out of the way, Stuart, I think you know what time it is.
Oh, I believe it is time for where is it? It is time for live viewer questions. Sorry, I was like looking under brand for some reason. I'm looking under the images for the live viewer questions thing before realizing, oh wait, no, it's under banners.
We definitely are going to be getting some of your guys' live viewer questions. For those that we do not get to, if anything, if we're not able to get to it on today's show, as usual, either later on today or sometime tomorrow, we will go ahead and review the remainder questions for you guys and post them in their own separate video that you can certainly look forward to getting either tomorrow or Tuesday. But let's go ahead and dive into your live viewer questions. If you would like to ever submit a live viewer question, how do you go about doing so? Fairly simple. All you have to do is go over to our main YouTube page, APlus Hero Report, as you see here. Go over to our community tab, and usually anytime after Wednesdays or Thursday in the week, anytime after that day, we usually will go ahead and post a live viewer question post like so. And then once you see it, feel free to go ahead and submit your questions down. Let me redo this because Stuart, I'm only seeing 7 questions today. Am I tripping? Wow, only 7 questions today. That's not, I'm used to like 20 something.
Yeah.
I guess it's the idea that we haven't been on air in a while, so some people probably forgot about us this week. So this might be a little bit easier than expected.
Might be the first
Let's
one
go.
where we get through all of them in a long time.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Marcelino Vasquez with the first question. A lot of people criticize Rey from Star Wars for being a Mary Sue, since she can learn new powers on the fly and can beat characters who are well trained despite her lack of training, to the point to where she's become the poster child for Mary Sue archetype. Do you agree with that? And if not, who deserves to be a poster child for Mary Sue or a Gary Sue?
I disagree with it, because the biggest evidence that people use of her just being able to pull random powers like out of her pocket without any training, is from episode 1 when she does the Jedi mind trick. But what we also got to realize about that scene is that the Jedi mind trick in this, future of Star Wars is very well known throughout the galaxy. She knows this is a thing that Jedis can do, and she's now realizing her power. So her using it and it taking a few tries, but eventually being able to get it on just a very weak-minded stormtrooper is not a Mary Sue thing. That's just a beginner Jedi being able to take down a really dumb stormtrooper. The other times that people try to use it as evidence of her not having training, that people like to look at Last Jedi of her lifting some rocks up out of nowhere, and it's like, again, even if Luke isn't the one training her, she does have a basic knowledge of the Force, and she's learning it on her own. And that's kind of one thing I find fascinating about her, is that she has her own training that she's doing. We see her doing it in The Last Jedi, so it makes sense that eventually, when we see her trying to help the Resistance out, she's able to figure it out on her own. And then literally anytime someone tries to say, oh, she learned how to heal out of nowhere, no, she didn't. Literally, there is a reason that they had like a time jump in episode 9, because they literally say that she did all this training in between movies. So it's not that far-fetched to find out that she learned how to heal using the Force within that time period. So yeah, I do disagree with the Mary Sue thing when it comes to Rey.
They've even said other characters like Harry Potter, Luke Skywalker, and Katniss Everdeen are among other famous characters who have been called Mary Sues. It says most, in some cases now, Mary Sue is kind of turned into a term used as a derogatory synonym for any protagonist who is hated or dismissed for their talents and virtues. So yeah. But yeah, so I think you said it, Stuart. I think you said it. Let's see here. Ram Jam. What you got, Ram Jam? Hey, Adam, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. I have a couple of questions. What are your thoughts on the MMPR Once and Always? Me personally, I loved it. I watched it a second time. I had a huge smile on my face. Do you think, also, number two, do you think we will get more reunion specials after this special? And will the Min character return? Or do you think this was a one-off? I would love to see more of the Min character. Okay. So yeah, we've kind of already talked about our thoughts on MMPR. I will answer the question, do you think we'll get more reunion specials after this special? Again, I do want to highlight that Jin Saku earlier today, in some of his reporting, he said Jonathan Entwistle's Power Ranger show is going into pre-production in November. He also says there's another show in the works, not a special, and maybe 30, maybe season 31. I don't know yet. But I also want to emphasize that he did mention that there is also a earnings call that I believe is set to go ahead and drop later on this week. So that'll give us a better idea as to the numbers that this show has been doing over on Netflix, and whether or not Hasbro, I don't know if they're going to be willing to announce anything in regards to like, yes, we're definitely doing more specials. But I'm hoping that they at least give us an idea of how well it did, to at least let us know, at least, is there a possibility? So we'll definitely have to see how it goes. But do I think we will get more reunion specials? Look, I do think that we live in a world where you can do the Jonathan Entwistle reboot and also have your connective tissues to still bring back more specials if you want. Look, I'm gonna be honest though, like, the idea of people wanting specials for like Time Force and all these other type of series, Zeo in space, maybe for me, I don't see it happening. I think if we were to get anything else outside of what Jonathan Entwistle's reboot is doing, I believe it'll probably be MMPR related. So whether that's another MMPR film, whether that's the children programming element that maybe is I mean, like maybe there is a season 31 that maybe gets developed, but I think if they are going to develop a season 31, it'll probably be with maybe Min at the forefront. But I almost feel like even with Min, Stewart, and let me know what you think here, like even with her now being a saber-toothed tiger, I almost feel like she could still be a part of this team. Like, I don't necessarily think I need to see her lead her own team as of yet. Um, so I can see there being another MMPR special where she's part of the cast and part of the team as a whole, or if they wanted to go the 31st season route, I would definitely like to see them include Min in some way or another. I think if this special and if Dino Fury in general has proven anything, like we've said this before, the Morphin Grid works in mysterious ways. This is very much a multiversal franchise. And I do think that you can still be a Jonathan Entwistle and create a reboot and really flesh out new beginnings and new teams. But if they are too also linked to the morphing grid, um, who's to say that there isn't any connections? Like literally, if a power coin can harbor somebody's memories, which I found really fascinating. Like that's one of the moments in this scene in the show that I found, or the special that I found fascinating, because even Billy found it fascinating. Like you saw Trini's memories, like of times that she was part of the team and stuff. Who knows what else the morphing grid can kind of store, and what type of connections the morphing grid can certainly still have. So I do think that there is a world we live in where it's like, look, Jonathan Entwistle's reboot still continues to go along as we have planned, but if the morphing grid is sort of that centerpiece, I don't think you need to reinvent the wheel here. I don't think you need to reinvent what the morphing grid does. I think it's almost implied that we can have different dimensions and different multiverses and kind of jump back and forth if and whenever we certainly need to. So, but I think that's going to come in a route of MMPR specials. So I do think that we can certainly get more of that. What do you think though, Stuart? Are you muted?
Yeah. So personally, if they bring her back, I wouldn't want it to just be for a special. I would want it to be for a season. It doesn't have to be a full 22 episodes. If they want to kind of go back to, if they want like Cosmic Fury's 10 episode run to be kind of like the standard for the kid oriented Power Ranger shows going forward. I think that'd be kind of a perfect opportunity to bring her back. I hear people saying that they want more MMPR specials kind of going forward. For me, that's where I'll slightly disagree and say that I'd just rather get more seasons of the show going forward, or instead of just like specials, maybe full-length feature films as well.
Yeah, no, I think they have some really great options, and I think they should certainly be mindful to keep them open.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the key, is that you have to be flexible. That while you're definitely focused and committed to creating what you need to create, the success of MMPR, I don't think would or should take away from that. If anything, if I was Hasbro, it would just bolster to me, we need to keep more content coming out from this particular aspect. This success, let's build off of this, and kind of go from there, but still keep our eyes on a trajectory of this reboot. So I do think you can get away with both of them and have them both make sense without giving up on either of them.
Yeah. Oh, real quick.
Yeah.
I guess I forgot to answer this part of the question. Who we think would be a good poster child for Mary Sue or Gary Stu, and I think a good poster child would be season 1 of Ahsoka from Star Wars Clone Wars. Just season
Okay,
1, though. I think when it came to season 2 and beyond, that's when they actually wrote her character to be like an actual like character. But I do think, especially like in the Clone Wars movie, it kind of felt like she was the type of character that you would normally see as oh, she has a long way to go before she's ready to, you know, be a Jedi. But that's how she's written, but then how she's actually portrayed in the movie is that she actually is like, you know, ready to be a Jedi at that point. So I think that, yeah, that how she was written in the beginning was not the best, but they got really, really good with her character, of course, later on.
So good old Ahsoka from season 1.
Yeah.
I dig it. Let's see here. We got Blossom. What I in the is you and I in the I don't know what that. I think I mistyped that one, Blossom. Do you remember KO35? What if the Q Rangers, aka Star Guardians, had a meeting base there for the pre-Zoo Ranger characters, since they're all the Galactic Council? Oh, is this for what you're writing? Yeah, go for it. Go for it, Blossom. I'm trying to figure out what this first thing you mentioned though. You and I, the 30th anniversary of MMPR. What in the? Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, Blossom. I'm sorry.
Oh,
You
KO
get it?
30. That's right. KO 30. Oh, not for the first part. I was trying to remember what
Oh, the
KO
second part.
35 was. Okay, so that was the original planet that Andros
Planet.
and Zane were from.
From in space.
Um,
Yeah.
so okay, and this is
So
based
yeah,
on like her fan fiction.
her fan fiction. Yeah, that she's creating. Yep.
Oh, that's sick. I gotta check that out at some point.
Jessica Fryman says, "Do you think we'll get a sequel to Once and Always one day? And you think Jordan could become Superman once Clark decides to retire one day?" I do think we can get a sequel to Once and Always one day. I think it's definitely up for a possibility, especially after the success that this show has definitely had. What about you, Stuart? In regards to the second half of this question, do you think Jordan could become Superman once Clark decides to retire?
That definitely seems to be what they are building up to, especially with him now getting his own suit, which I'm really excited to see.
Oh
Um,
shit, he's getting his own suit.
Yeah, he got it a couple episodes ago, but we haven't gotten to see what it looks like yet because it was like kind of given to him in like a box. And but we know it involves goggles that apparently his great grandfather wore during the World War II. So it looks like it could have some resemblances of like early Connor Kent Superboy when he made his debut, just to look more professional instead of like, you know, a little less punk and a little more professional is my guess. But I'm
Okay.
excited. I'm really, really excited. And yeah, I think that, you know, depending on how they decide to end things with Superman and Lois, you know, going forward, I think it's a huge possibility that we could have like maybe an epilogue that takes place in the future and Jordan becomes the new Superman.
Oh, that would be pretty fascinating, man. If that's the route that they go for the CW show, I would be kind of curious to see how the fans react to it. Is that a case of like Tyler no longer being on the show and this kid taking over as like the main lead? Is that what they're hinting at?
Oh, no, not like that. I
Oh,
mean
okay.
more
Oh,
like as
okay.
an epilogue. Like, so once the show
Gotcha.
ends, like you get like,
Okay.
you know, maybe one more episode in the future to show him
Gotcha.
as Superman. Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And just to go back to Blossom's question, she does clarify. She says, "I was asking what your favorite part of the 30th anniversary was." My phone was acting up. Okay, so my favorite part of it. I got two great scenes. The Zach and Min scene in the command center where he's having the talk. I really love that talk. I really did. Seeing Zach just emphasize the importance of what it means to be a ranger, picking her brain. Like, what do you think we do? Like, what do you think it means to be a ranger? You know, I just really love that gravitas of that scene. And I also love, you know, one thing too, I love the fact that it also showcases what Zach's profession was beforehand, that he was actually a congressman. It makes me wonder if the peace conference that he attended actually helped him to become the congressman that he certainly was. And the fact that he sort of gave up that job as congressman in order to go ahead and take care of Min I thought was kind of speaks volumes, and he goes to emphasize like that's a level of selflessness that I'm talking about, right? Like to put your own needs aside for somebody else. And the fact that, he's like, look, you are worth all of it, like taking care of you and fulfilling your mom's wish and protecting you type of thing. I just thought it was a really powerful moment and a great moment. So like that scene, and then my other part of seeing Min finally morph. Just the level of excitement that she had. I even love like Zach looking at her like, "You want to say it?" Like, hell yeah, I want to say it. Like, I even love that. I even love that moment, and just getting to see everybody morph in the pose, along with the great action sequence of her with the fucking daggers. I mean, she was just going to town on these dudes. So those are two of my favorite parts of the 30th anniversary. What about you, Stuart?
Oh man, I think same thing. I'll give another honorable mention though. For the very end of it, like during the credits, how we had like kind of a remake of the theme song, using like footage from the '90s show and using the modern footage as well. Really, really enjoyed that. But I think with that final scene that you were talking about, where she becomes the Yellow Ranger, I think it works so well because of everything that it really built up to it. So when we
Right.
finally got all 5 Rangers back together to kick some ass, I just think it was just so incredibly satisfying.
Yeah, extremely satisfying. I think that's a perfect way to describe it. Johnny Marrero, what's up, Johnny? He says, with Once and Always a hit, do you think a sequel or 10 episode series can happen in the future? Also, after seeing Once and Always, could we see more of Min as the Yellow Ranger in the future? I hope so. I really do. I personally was impressed with Charlie Kirsch. I believe it was Marcelino that mentioned he didn't really care so much about her fight sequence. I didn't mind it in the juice bar. I kind of almost wish that they highlighted it a little bit more. I kind of wanted to see sort of more of her try and take on the putties, because she did pretty good for like the first 2 or 3 of them. And then when she became overpowered and just way too confident and things didn't go her route, that's when she really got her ass handed to her. Like, I thought it was a sick move that the 2 puppies picking her up and like slamming her back on the fucking bar counter. I was like, oh my God, like they were pretty brutal with her. And it's funny too, because when Zach and Billy are trying to dissuade her about becoming a Power Ranger, and Zach's like, they'll overpower you in a second. I was like, why? Because she's a woman. And then and then I watched the episode and I'm like, oh yeah, she got that ass beat. Like, they're absolutely right. They're absolutely right. But she showed her worth, and I do think that if anything, I would love to see more of her. I think she's very talented. I think she was able to really do a good job of portraying sort of like that conflicted teenager that, lost her mom, has a lot of resentment, wants revenge, but learns a life lesson towards the end. And I think she had some pretty good dialogue moments with some of the cast members in here. So I kind of would like to see more of her, and just to kind of fulfill and continue to pass down that legacy of Tui Trang and just Trini as a whole. So, there was always something, I don't want to say off, but watching this show or this special and not really seeing a Yellow Ranger involved for majority of it just felt off to me. And it should, because it's not a team anymore, right? Like, it's not the family that we knew that it was. But now getting to see Min as a part of that team now, and seeing everybody together, all 5 Rangers, it just feels so fitting. And I really hope that they allow us to see more of her. So yeah, give me more Charlie Kirsch as Min personally. What about you? Do you want to see more of her as the Yellow Ranger, or are you good with how this ended?
Both. Like, if we don't get any more of her in the future, at least we, had an amazing performance when she was in it. But if we get more of her, I'm all for it. Yeah, I already mentioned that personally, I would love to see her in a whole nother season instead of another special. But if it's through another special, I'm totally cool with that too. Also, has there been any confirmation on whether or not she'll make an appearance in Cosmic Fury or not, or is that off the
I
table?
I I haven't heard. I haven't heard. I know I've heard of David Yosts, but as far as Charlie, I haven't. That's been my own speculation, though. Is the idea like, I have stated that I do think Billy and Min will pop up in Cosmic Fury, but again, that's just my own speculation. But I haven't heard anything concrete though about it, though. No.
Because one story I could see them doing with her, if they wanted her to be in it, is because we know that Ollie is going to be like basically possessed at the beginning of the show, so he'll be like kind of an evil ranger, I guess, for a little bit. And I could see Amelia wanting to kill Zed because of this. And so Min kind of being the character to like kind of say, hey, I almost went down that route
Hey,
myself. You know, I don't want you to make the same mistake or something like that. I think that'd be kind of
dude,
cool.
that would be pretty cool. I would absolutely love that. So yeah, look at that. Look at us just fitting in Min. Like just give us writing credentials already, okay?
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. As far as like do you think a sequel or 10 episode series can happen in the future? I think either of those are possible. Stewart seems to be on the 10 episode series. You know, I don't mind the idea of a sequel to Once and Always as a film, but I wouldn't. I'm definitely not going to say no to 10 episodes if they were to give me any more. My thing is, I personally do want to see more of what we saw. And like Stewart, if not, I'm very much content and happy with it. But I do think not only has this shown that you have a hit on your hands and that there's potential that more people would probably love to devour this type of content. So I think you pull the trigger. If it's hot, if people are talking about it, I think you pull the trigger and certainly try and make something happen. But again, I don't think that's in sacrificing anything Jonathan Entwistle is doing. I think you can still very much full steam ahead on that, but still create within this particular franchise, but keep it within that MMPR sort of family. I know a lot of people are going to be pissed about that, but look, MMPR is just successful. I don't know what else to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like people came out in droves for this. And I just do not think the same energy would have been there for any other special. Again, that's not taking away anything from your guys' favorite season. I'm just spitting facts in regards to the impact in pop culture that MMPR has certainly had and warranted over the years. That is the moneymaker. And so I think a lot of those will definitely continue to happen. But we'll see, man. We'll see what the future holds. But I'm in agreement with you, Johnny. I'm just as excited. Dino Knights, what's up, Dino Knights? Up here we go with the whole paragraph. Is this essay today? Thanks, AJ. He said, you probably already talked about it, but I'll ask anyway. What did you think of the MMPR 30th anniversary special? I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I watched it 5 times now, and it's still freaking amazing. I had so much fun with it. It was fantastic seeing the old gang back together. I love how they handled the absence of Jason, Kimberly, and Tommy. I love that they were able to hear old audio footage from the 3 of them. At first, I really thought ASJ, JDF, and Amy Jo secretly did ADR, especially when we heard them morph off screen and were fighting Robo Rita and the Putties. Especially hearing Tui's voice was just absolutely emotional, very very convincing in my ears. I love how the entire anniversary project was shot 4K and Dolby Atmos surround sound was just absolutely incredible. I keep getting chills throughout when I will say this, while I did love it on my big screen, I would not mind watching it in Dolby Atmos and 4K because it did look gorgeous. I mean, they did a really great job. Like, while I did watch it on Netflix and I did pay for my subscription, I'm just going to be honest, I also did download the episode so that I could use screenshots for some of my thumbnails that I certainly create. But even seeing it like for the 3rd time on my television, like on my computer, seeing how gorgeous it looked, I was like, oh my God, like I really, now that you mentioned it, AJ, I really would love to see it just in even better quality. Especially the music, man, the music, Ron Wasserman just outdid himself. I really like the explanation of the proxy power coins. Sounded very Billy Cranston like. As for SPA, I'm glad that they didn't really go in depth with SPA. I am also too. Personally, I thought it would be too overwhelming to reference and rectify SPD's existence. Love that Aisha and Adam at least referenced their encounter with the Trubian Empire and being in the Sirius system, which was a name drop of Commander Kruger's home planet. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Simon Bennett as executive producers, the writers, and the whole crew did an amazing job with his anniversary special. I absolutely cannot wait for Cosmic Fury to arrive. So much nod to the entire franchise that I caught, including the 2017 reboot and the 95 movie, was just incredible. As for CGI, mainly the Zords, I didn't really care because I've seen worse CGI in Super Sentai in past seasons. What really matters is the story and execution. I really have no complaints whatsoever. I love this anniversary special so much that it tops Forever Red. Ooh, that's big for AJ because I remember AJ for the longest time, even though he's seen this 5 times. It's taken him 5 times to go ahead and actually put it above Forever Red for him, because before it definitely was not. A plus 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 for me. All right, AJ, we appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it's funny because like for me, like I would also say this is my favorite anniversary special, but I also got to be fair and say that this does have a bit of a advantage over them because the other ones were kind of filmed as episodes, whereas this one actually got to be filmed as a standalone like kind of special, which I think gave them a bigger budget than the other specials had. And not to mention, because it was so focused on only, you know, a very small amount of characters, they had a lot more time to do like character focused stories within the special for this. But I do agree. This is my personal favorite anniversary special out of all of them.
Nice. Let me see. Oh, I wanted to ask you, how did you feel about the SPA and Aisha and Adam's appearance in here?
Oh yeah, a little disappointed by how brief their appearance was. Like I was hoping the trailer was just misleading and making us think that that was all we were going to get. It turned out, yeah, we just got that in one other scene. But I did really love what they did with Aisha, basically saying like it's really good to see the Yellow Rangers legacy is in good hands. I loved that moment. Like that was really
Yeah, I
cool.
did too.
And then, yeah, I also, again, this kind of goes to like how they handle the fan service in the special. I do really like that, you know, anyone just kind of like watching that moment with Adam, him being like, oh, we're dealing with the Trivian Empire in this system. It's like any SPD fans going to be like, oh, but like anyone just watching it's just going to think of it as a casual line and it's not going to take away from the overall, you know, story itself. So I think that was incredibly well handled. I also, you know, like that they didn't go in too much detail about SPA. I think they, the fact that they didn't go into a lot of detail gives the writers, if they want to explore it more in the future, gives them a lot more flexibility. You know, they don't have to commit to, you know, SPA now being this specific thing. Now, if they wanted to, they can either have it be like a branch of SPD or the predecessor to SPD. They don't have to commit to one decision or another quite yet, you know?
Yeah, no, I think you make a good point. I do think that they executed the SPA handling well. I too was a big fan of the comment that Aisha certainly gave. Just a reminder, like, you know, look, I was a Yellow Ranger too at one point. Don't forget about my ass, even though I wasn't fully in this special. I did appreciate that for sure. Also, the only thing was missing was Nakia. But other than that, you know, well, I'm sure maybe we'll see Tanya again one day. Let's see here. Doomsday, he's got a couple questions for us. Do you think Adam Driver will accept the offer of Reed Richards, or do you think he'll go and play Doctor Doom, according to the majority of the fan base? You know, I think it's Reed Richards. I think he'll accept it. I don't see why not. If he's going out for the role and they're doing final talks, I think the negotiations will be right up his alley. So I do think he will take that role if this turns out to be true. What were your thoughts on the opening redux in Once and Always? What did you think, Stuart?
Oh, I freaking loved it. It was one of my
I
favorite
love it.
moments of the special. I absolutely thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I love the quick shot of them as younger and then older, and you're like, did they change Walters? Because it looks the same to me.
The only way you can tell is the pixels.
But yeah, right. But look, man,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. That the opening sequence for Once and Always just did it for me. I mean, to see the opening intro of the writing to get us reestablished, like 1993, Teenagers with Attitude, Space Dumpster, like just getting you hyped. Like just that build up along with the Ron Wasserman music just building also, and then our first shot, just the beat up Billy trying to pull himself in slow motion off the ground. I'm like, oh shit, they starting out like this. My God, like and then the Mighty Morphin logo comes in, explosions, the dynamic running. It just really set it onto a perfect pace and tone for the remainder of this shot. So we got some very smart people behind the camera and editing and putting this all together. I think they did a remarkable job. So great choice of selection of shots for sure. Doomsday says, during the filming of Guardians of the Galaxy, out of the core five members, do you feel Chris Pratt had it a lot easier as Star-Lord? Because with Rocket, he was a CGI motion capture, and Bradley Cooper did the voice. With Groot, he was also CGI motion capture character, and Vin Diesel did the voice. With Gamora, Zoe Saldana had to have her whole body painted green from head to toe. Same with Drax. Dave Bautista had his whole body painted to head to toe and was shirtless the entire time. So who had it the worst? Oh, who had it easier? No, Vin Diesel and Bradley Cooper, if you ask me. I mean, they literally didn't even have to come into the studio.
Yeah.
Like, Chris Pratt at least had to get dressed. Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel, I'm sure, could probably have shown up in their pajamas and shorts and did some ADR work if they wanted to. So yeah, I'll probably give it to Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel here. I mean, Vin Diesel probably.
I was going to say Vin Diesel because, I mean, he had the 2 lines.
Like one word, right?
Groot, and
like,
we are Groot. Okay, am I done now? Cool. See ya.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if Vin Diesel even showed up to anything else after that? I mean, he might have just recorded those. And, he probably recorded like the 2 lines just in different ways of saying it in the first one. And they probably was like, hey, we need you to say I am Groot 20 different ways and we are Groot 20 different ways. And they just held on to all that audio and they just inserted it wherever they needed to. Vin Diesel's probably never been on set ever again since the first one.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, maybe Vin Diesel probably had it the easiest there.
Because, like, even with Bradley Cooper, like, voice acting can be challenging when you have to put on, especially
absolutely.
like when you're putting on like a specific voice. And since Rocket Raccoon's voice is very unique, I imagine it could still be, a challenging job. But yeah, I feel like for Vin Diesel, he definitely had it the easiest.
Yeah, I definitely think he had the easiest. I'm looking forward to this movie, though. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 looks great. First reactions have come out, and people are absolutely losing their shit over it. And look, I will say this. I, over the years, have stopped caring about first reactions because, again, anybody that goes to a premiere is just loving anything that comes out of a first reaction. If I went to a Marvel Studios premiere, I wouldn't even care how good the movie is or how terrible it was. I would just be so hyped. I'd be like, this movie's the greatest movie of all time. So I will wait until the embargo drops and people actually start talking about it once the movie actually comes out. But I said this before, Stuart, and I will say it again. If people feel some type of way about James Gunn and the DCU, if Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is successful, I think a lot of those doubters will definitely hold their tongue a little bit more. And I do think there will be an additional level of enthusiasm behind what James Gunn is doing, because they're probably going to be like, if he can do that, and we've seen what he's been able to do, but people have like no memory of all of a sudden. Like they don't even remember what movies James Gunn have done. They just want to bitch about the guy the whole entire time. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 may be that reminder that people need, like, this dude can do it all and bring a great balance to these movies. And I'm hoping that after Guardians of the Galaxy 3, James Gunn is vindicated again and people get off his ass about DCU and just sit back and see what he creates. Give the man a chance. But I do think this will be a big win for him.
I do hope this is a movie where he was given more creative control, because I know that with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, that was like one of the things, is that Disney had like a heavy hand in the script saying, okay, this is what worked in the first movie, so we need more of this stuff. So I hope for this movie they didn't do that quite as much, and they just, they were like, hey, the first movie was successful because we let James Gunn do his thing. We should learn from that and let him do his thing in the third movie.
Yeah, I definitely hope so also. I definitely hope so. Because I wasn't the biggest fan of the second volume. There's some moments that I certainly enjoyed, but I absolutely loved what he did with the holiday special for Guardians of the Galaxy. If you guys haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. And I think, again, he's going to bring a great balance to Guardians 3. So we'll keep our fingers crossed, and as we get closer to its premiere and debut, we'll definitely keep you guys posted. But that will do it for all of our live viewer questions today, guys. So thank you very much, everybody, for certainly coming through for us today. Great show, Stuart, man. I appreciate you joining us. If anything, I think I'm probably going to, again, take the once and always review, probably split that and or at least recopy it and put it into another video for the once and always review to be its own solid review. I may even throw in some of the live viewer questions to add to context for the video. So it might be like a 40-50 minute video for all I know. But more for you guys to certainly enjoy. But I hope you guys enjoyed a lot of our topics here this week. But hopefully, as long as everything goes well, we should certainly be back next week for you guys also. And we got some other content headed your way this week. Was there any new Superman and Lois episodes this week, Stuart? Do you recall?
Oh,
Are they on a
no, not
hiatus?
this week. They were on a 1 week hiatus. I think it was a sporting event because they also didn't have any like Flash or Gotham Knights either.
Yeah,
But it'll
right.
be
Gotham
back
was
this week, of course.
Okay, yeah. So look out for more Superman and Lois reviews along with Gotham Knights as they both return this week. So we should certainly have some fresh content for you there. I do want to pick your brain, Stuart, also in regards to Mandalorian season 3. I kind of want to do an overall season 3 review. So I might spend this week kind of just binging the season once again. Just to have it fresh in my head. And then maybe on later on this week, if we can find some availability and time, maybe you and I and maybe even Will from Cena Nerd can sit down and discuss Mando season 3. How does that sound for you?
I would definitely be down. Yeah, I saw your review on the season finale. I agree with a lot of points you made. I can't remember what there was something that you said. I think it was oh, right. It was with the Mandalorians in space. I think the
Oh,
reason they were able to like kind of breathe in space for that small amount of time, I think it was because the planet was kind of in the atmosphere, or sorry, the ships were in the atmosphere of the planet. So I don't think
okay.
necessarily it was all the way in outer space. But
Right on that
yeah,
rim.
yeah, exactly. So I think because it was for a very short period of time and because like it wasn't necessarily all the way in space, maybe that was the reason. But yes, I would definitely be down to talk Mandalorian with you because I did really enjoy this season.
Marcelino says, I think Tony Robinson just posted a live viewer question already. Let me see if I can refresh that. Yes. Yes, we do. Is that the yes? Let me go ahead and get this one last one then. One last one. Because we got like 5 minutes left. So let's tackle this real quick. I don't want to make sure I get you guys' questions. So give me one moment. What you saying over here, Tony? Okay. Yeah, here we go. Could you see Jonathan Entwistle dropping any news on his Power Ranger project this year? Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I would think so. I don't know if it's gonna come before the Cosmic Fury drops. But I think so. If pre-production is set to begin in November, I gotta think that we get a little bit of something, especially with the script kind of already in. So yeah, I do think that we will get an update probably after Jonathan and probably after Cosmic Fury, but I do think so. What do you think?
I think so too. If they're starting production in November, at the very least, hopefully they drop a name like what it's going to be called, and then possibly a casting list of who's going to be in it.
Yeah, that's definitely a potential for sure. And I do believe Jin did again confirm. Red is definitely a female in the reboot script. He also says the script is turned in. Hasbro said it was really good, one of the best that they had read, so that's good news. And he says, yeah, Red is definitely going to be female in the reboot script, and my character descriptions was 100% accurate, but the name could be placeholders. So if you guys do recall, Jin Saku's tweet. If not, I wish I had pulled it up before. He sent this to me like just 15 minutes before we actually went live, so I didn't get a chance to fully pull his previous post. But yeah, if you can find Jin Saku's character descriptions, go with those. Tony Robinson says, if Hasbro decided to adapt a new team from the Boom comics, which one would you guys see them going with? I still think, well, I was going to say Hyperforce, but I don't know. Do you get Andre the Black Comedy Nerd? Like, is he going to be on the show? You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't know. I think Hyperforce would be pretty interesting. Do you have a team that you would like to see them tackle?
Um, I wouldn't mind either Hyperforce or the Omega Rangers if it was like an animated series.
Mm.
I think like both of those would work extremely well in an animated adaptation. Um, But yeah, other than that, I'm not too sure because I actually haven't really been keeping up with the comic books in a while. Actually,
Yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah, it's been a minute since I've read them. And then last but not least, do you think Cosmic Fury could bring back casual fans?
Mm. I could see casual fans checking it out, and whether or not they stick with it is really going to depend on the overall quality of the show. I'm going to be totally honest. This is coming from a guy that likes Dino Fury, but I don't like. I think that if the quality they go for in Cosmic Fury is very similar to the tone and quality of Dino Fury, I don't think it's going to bring in any casual fans, personally. But that's yeah.
Is there a reason
Well,
why?
just because, or and by casual fans, I mean like the fans that stopped watching after MMPR. And just because I think that while Dino Fury was a really good show, when it comes to like overall Power Rangers, I don't think it's necessarily the type of show that would bring in new viewers that are already adults, maybe younger viewers, definitely. But I don't see any like kind of adult viewers who aren't like hardcore Power Rangers fans like wanting to stick around with it.
Um, you know, I will say I don't know if Cosmic Fury could bring back casual fans, but I definitely do think this MMPR special did.
Oh yeah.
Um, I do wonder if with this now being on Netflix, I would agree with you. I don't know if you do the same thing you did Dino Fury, if that's appealing to a casual fan, because it's just like this has been Power Rangers for years with some improvements. But if you do take the Netflix route and give us something unique and different, similar to what they just did with MMPR, if you build that on top of the excitement level from MMPR, maybe you do have some casuals that came back for this special and are like, oh, so Netflix is doing another Power Ranger series, but Cosmic Fury. I may not be too familiar with Dino Fury, but they did such a good job on MMPR. Maybe this is worth a view at least. And I think if you can make it different from what you did from Dino Fury, or at least in regards to like improving upon it, then maybe you can keep some casual fans in there for sure. But I think if there's anything that's attracting casual fans to Power Rangers these days, it's definitely Once and Always.
Mhm.
Whether or not you keep that momentum and allow them to continue to come over to Cosmic Fury, I think that will really depend on the creative freedom being on Netflix might potentially bring for you, and maybe people's curiosity of Power Rangers being on Netflix after just watching Once and Always. So we'll see how it goes, but I do think this is a big tentpole moment for Power Rangers. And we'll see if they use that opportunity to continue to build this world out and take that momentum to hype up the excitement for potential reboot also. Because I do think we live in a world where we can get both, but hopefully we'll get more details soon. Again, we got ourselves a conference call, a quarterly call this April 27th. Maybe they'll give us a little bit more insight, but everybody's focus right now is going to be moving towards Cosmic Fury until that winds up dropping later on this year. And then maybe we'll get some information once Jonathan Entwistle's Power Rangers goes into pre-production this November.
I
So
think
we'll
that
see how it goes.
even though his appearance in the show will probably be very brief, I think for the trailer they should probably let people know that hey, Billy is coming back in Cosmic Fury. I think that'd be another good way to bring in like casual fans to at least check it out. And like I said, if the quality is based on the quality, I think that's going to be what really determines whether or not those casual fans stick with Cosmic Fury, whether they stick with it for one episode or if they actually end up binging all 10 episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, guys, that will do it this time for us and our live viewer questions. So thank you so much, Tony, for submitting that in, and thank you, Marcelino, for letting us know. We would have missed out on that. So thank you so much for the heads up. But all right, guys, that's gonna do it for us here. We'll definitely see you guys later on next weekend. Some other great content certainly headed your way. So if you have not subscribed to Hero Report, hit that subscribe button, guys, along with that bell notification so you know when we're dropping brand new videos. If you haven't hit that like button yet, please go ahead and do so. And again, feel free to share these videos, friends, family, wherever on social media. Let people know about Hero Report. And other than that, I think that's going to do it for us. Stuart, if people need to find you on social media, where can they find you, sir?
You guys can follow me at TurboStew01 over on Twitter and on Instagram.
And if you want to follow us on social media, right up here at the top at APlus Opinions, very active over on our main Facebook page where we post all the news, trailers, and posters throughout the week for you guys to be caught up on. Also, feel free to follow us over on Twitter as well as Instagram. If you want to go ahead and join our Discord forum community, right up there is a link in the description box below. You guys can definitely follow us there to continue our conversations throughout the week. There's also a link down below for our Spotify. If you guys are Spotify users and like audio versions of the show, this will be available later on this afternoon. So certainly look forward to that. But that's going to do it for us. So we'll certainly see you guys next weekend. But until then, do us a big favor as always, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. May the power protect you. We'll talk to you later. Bye.